made a decision to give up his. So
That's
you're
right.
saying,
Okay.
and y'all said this. Y'all said that if there was no Jesus, there would be no God.
Oh,
I
That
didn't say that. That's
Tertullian
been
would
your
kick y'all in
question
the
to
nuts
us,
for
and I
that.
don't
Y'all
know,
said that.
Theo. I don't
You
know who
said it.
said
You
that. I
and
don't know who
Byron.
said it. I don't know
You
who said
and
that.
Byron.
I don't
nah,
know
he
who
said
said
like you
that.
can't have one without the other type shit. Like you can't have
Exactly.
the sun without the radiance. And like, the
That's
core of the
exactly
sun
what you
and the
said.
radiance, they like hand in
Yeah,
hand.
if you don't have the radiance, you do not have the core. If you don't have the core, you don't have the other two. The other two, all three are necessary in order for the one thing talking about
See?
is actually being there.
See? That's what I just said.
Man,
Interesting, because that's not what I disagree to.
Okay, but
You
Tertullian
said that
disagrees
this
with
is
that.
okay.
He said there was a time when God was alone.
Beautiful.
So
I agree to that. I agree to that.
anything
I
that comes
agree to
forth.
that, Theo. Did you hear
Okay,
me? John 1:1. It's right there.
okay, you don't agree to that.
John 1:1 identifies that God is alone in the first verse. And yet you find distinction within the Godhead.
Okay, so then let's walk this one in. So Tertullian says the word is the rationale of God that came forth. Do you agree with that?
Yes, demonstrating that the rationale was not created and it was already present.
What? No. Not
It came
Tertullian.
forth, so it
Tatian.
already
Hold
existed.
on. Hold on. Hold
Cool.
on. Hold on. Hold on.
It
Hold on. Hold
already
on.
existed as
No.
eternal.
No.
Cool.
No. Don't. No. 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 You won't do that because I know Tatian too well. You don't.
You do?
So look. Yeah. So check this out.
Interesting.
Whether it be Tatian, whether it be even the philosophers that he was going against,
I thought we were
they
only okay.
hold on, bro, man, please,
You crashing
bro.
out?
Okay, no, well, I know you ain't talking, sweater.
I know you hung up, you bitch
So
ass nigga earlier. I'm just trying to
yeah,
make
because
sure you don't
you're
keep
not
the
gonna make
same
me hang
energy
up
flowing.
now. You're not gonna
Well,
make me
you
hang up.
always do. You a
Okay,
bitch
so
from the get go.
I
Make a
know, I
point.
know. Okay, I will. So, matter of fact, I'll just keep it on Tatian. Tatian
What's the
acknowledges
point?
that rationale that comes forth from God, it's created. That's not eternal. That word is not eternal. It doesn't lose its godness, but it is creating. It is coming forth from. So when he says that there was a time that God was alone, they point out explicitly. They say that doesn't. They're not to say that God didn't have a rationale or these things prior to, but it was within Him. So there was a time when God was alone. When that came forth from God and became recognized, or became something that creation could that could create creation, that could create. The distinction is made from that because remember, God is incomprehensible, and they went out of their way to protect that space where God was. Y'all undermining that by y'all doctrine and just saying it's just
Thank
not
you
the
for being
view.
in agreement. Thank you for being in agreement with me and Tation on
Oh,
that.
man, this motherfucker
One
crazy,
thing,
man.
exactly, on the things that you just said wasn't there, and then you just stated it was there by saying that the rationale is not to say that the rationale was brought about later. It was already there within him in the beginning. So I'm so glad I am in agreement with Tatian on that statement because it demonstrates the rationale. And if he wasn't using Greek because he's Syriac and he's speaking Syriac, the fuck are we talking logos for? Oh yeah, because that's part of Stoic philosophy that he was highly involved in as well at the later portion of his teaching.
So
Because he's revamping the
Tayson
Stoic.
doesn't agree with that either.
Well, okay, but Encyclopedia Britannica does as a
They
summary
don't.
about this man. You're right. You're right. The people that get paid to do the historical and scholarly information and give us summaries in encyclopedias, they're wrong. Thank you, Theo, because now we just toss all of the bullshit right out the window and we ain't got shit to fuck with.
I do.
No more translation.
I got the church
Theo, you
fathers'
can't read.
writings.
You can't read a damn translation. You got to
Why
read
are we
all
going?
translations. You got to toss all that shit out the window.
Okay, Courtney,
Go back
stay
to the
focused
original
now.
language text.
Okay,
I'm there.
stay focused now. Okay.
I'm just making sure
So,
you're focused.
okay.
You
Okay,
give
I
very
am. I
sweeping
am.
attacks
Come
to
on,
people,
Courtney.
not
Come on,
realizing you're
Courtney.
utilizing the
Come on,
very same
Courtney.
sources in question.
Come
So
on,
I
Courtney.
wish you were consistent
Come
and
on,
just said,
Courtney.
fuck it. I'm sweeping my own sources underneath the table, just like I want to do with Courtney.
This is not my source. This is y'all source.
You're right. So just pay attention because you don't go by books. We know you can't read.
Oh my gosh, man. Come on,
It's a
y'all.
fact. It's a fact.
You need to grow your punk ass up.
Theo,
So,
you
oh
literally
my
said, you
gosh,
asked me a
man.
series of questions. Was you
I'm
said
going by
and then
the
your reply was
writings of
right.
Tatian
So with
only.
when Tatian, I'm going to address that right now. I'm addressing Tatian because you said Tatian said it's not as if the rationale came about later. It was already within God, and you are speaking as if God was not alone with His own rationale. So it's just fascinating. I'm in agreement with Tatian. You're trying to use Tatian against himself to say Christians later disagree with him, and I'm in a complete agreement with him there, as well as I'm in a general agreement with him as it relates to his philosophical tropes and ways he looks at how and who God is. I'm in slight disagreement with him when he uses this fundamentalistic uh, trope today, at least. I would not say God is completely
Hey,
unknowable because we have literature that gives us information about who God is, how we can know who He is, and the history about His own engagements with people throughout history.
oh,
So,
I see why. Pan and Honey on the phone. Oh, you putting on an Afi. Oh, you putting on that show. Go ahead, continue on. Go ahead.
I was done. You can try to throw me off all you want, but I was actually done.
I
So I
wasn't.
appreciate
I
that,
wasn't.
Theo.
I wasn't.
I know. I know. Read the room because he's still
Okay.
lost.
No, and I
He's
read the
still
room
lost on the issue at hand.
because it. Okay, you said you was done. Because if it was us, if it was us who always been around you, you wouldn't have did that because you would have known instantly. We know that's a bunch of fluff. What the fuck you doing,
You want the
right?
sources?
Okay. So now,
We know you don't
literally.
because we
Hey,
know
who said that,
when I
Courtney?
mentioned
Come on,
patient
Courtney. Come
earlier,
on,
you said you
Courtney.
weren't going to
Come
look
on,
at a
Courtney.
video,
Come on,
and all I
Courtney.
shared
Come on,
earlier was the
Courtney. Come on,
Encyclopedia
Courtney. You just
Britannica.
said you was done, Courtney.
Right? You don't want the
You
sources.
just said you was done.
Do you want the sources?
Okay. So now
Do you?
I shared this video specifically, but it's open for anybody who wants to watch it. I shared it with Salim, wait a minute, and told him something specific, right? I shared it to other people in the back chat too, right? And I wanted to point out that, see, he's saying the same thing I said. I know he is because they're talking about the writings that I brought forth. But Courtney, you said you didn't watch the video and you chose to go to Google and get to the encyclopedia and you brought some shit here to go against Theo without even knowing what Theo was sharing it for, right? And you proceeded to go because, again, like I said before, Will came and said dirty Greeks. Of course he did. I know Will's view on that, right? But you wanted to fight something that should not have even been a fight because his writings itself, and this is addressed to the Greeks, which I shared, he is attacking this philosophy, all this Greek stuff that we talk about, even myself, I've talked about. He's going against the Stoics that I talked about. Literally, he's going against it. He's saying that their philosophy goes so far back. See, because it's cool because he's confirming another point, but you kind of got to pull that out. So I couldn't bring it forth. But he's acknowledging the philosophy when I say that the Naxos go back through Persia and all this kind of stuff. He talks about these people, but you don't know what he's doing. So therefore, you brought this. He's talking about the faith, and everybody agrees on the birth of Jesus. Tayshia don't talk about that shit.
Didn't mention
He
the
don't
birth of
need
Jesus at
to.
all today.
He don't
Please stop
need to.
confusing me with
Stop,
William.
stop
Thank you.
jumping in my conversation
Well, just address me
because I
and don't
pointed out
confuse me
because
with
I
William.
pointed out before.
Thank you.
I'm about to end my point because overall, what's going to come out? I'm going to tell you one of my big plays with y'all because y'all make this marriage between Christianity and Judaism that ain't really there. So what you have is you have a group of Messianic Jews who believe that Jesus was a righteous teacher. But then you have this this new thing from these people that are Gentiles. And they are bringing themselves into this Jewish world and all other beliefs world by the name of Christian.
Let them finish.
Antioch is where they were first called Christians. Right? Y'all make this claim of Jerusalem, but y'all are wrong. Those are Messianic Jews in Jerusalem.
Mm.
Damn, I wonder
This religion, shut your ass up and sell on the phone. You ain't said shit all day. Sit your fucking ass back. Okay? Because you know I'm kicking y'all and I'm kicking y'all bullshit and y'all nuts.
None of this shit got to do with Tation. Let the audience know.
It does have to do with Tation. It has everything to do with Tation. Because y'all shit is sedated with this Greek philosophical bullshit, which y'all acknowledge. Tation says that's the bullshit that would send y'all off. And y'all are a product of that bullshit. Y'all
Let me know when you're done.
Them.
Let me know when you're done.
Done.
Okay, cool. I only had 2 issues with Tation that Theo clearly misrepresents. Number one, Tation was not merely a Syriac speaker. The nigga went and got trained in Greek philosophy in Rome. When in Rome, what do you do? What the Romans do? Guess what language he was also using in the initial composition?
Fluff.
It's fluff because this is his life, I guess. Theo, you can't use a nigga who you're ignorant about his life concerning, I guess, because it's fluff. But nonetheless, the same fluffy ass nigga, say Theo, this nigga is the one that created the diatessaron, which was not a translation, but a harmony. It was a combination in chronological order of the 4 gospels. And guess what? He did that initially in Rome. And then he went back home to Syria, and then he published.
Can you prove he did that in Rome, Courtney? Please show proof he did that in Rome.
Well, the publication was in Syria. Thank you for not listening. And it does say in the literature that he studied in Rome. He studied in Rome and he used Greek documents in Rome.
Show us.
Go to Encyclopedia Britannica because you don't like to read it no way.
You don't know.
Those are my 2 issues. Those are my 2 issues with Tation that Theo is overspoken about.
Okay.
You can complain all you want. The source is already in the chat. All you got to do is read the Encyclopedia Britannica. The people that get paid to do the critical general informational research from publication for the general public. So all I'm saying is you can check their credentials and their publications. Fuck the nigga that say he don't care every other 5 minutes because he don't know what the fuck he talking about.
Okay. So what Courtney is doing is now he's going against the tradition of the believers in this group and telling me to go to these general sources like Encyclopedia Britannica rather than the church itself, whose history they are claiming. And what I'm asking Courtney to do is show me when he went to Rome, because there's no documentation of that. What these dummies don't know is that Rome, that Greek life had spread all throughout many lands. So he didn't have to go there. That shit came to him and he was defending theirs against them. That is the history. You don't know your Christian history. When I used to talk to you about Adi Benet, you didn't know it, so you used to make up shit and bullshit. And this is what you're doing. That's why I keep calling fluff. Theo doesn't know what Tasha. Yeah, I don't know much about Tasha, but I know more than your ass. You don't agree with Tasha. Tasha doesn't see Jesus as God. Tasha saw the word coming from God. No Messianic Jew saw Jesus as God. The woman at the well didn't see Jesus as God. The disciples, the apostles themselves didn't see Jesus as God. The people in the town didn't see Jesus as God. They were about to kill Jesus because they said, because you a man, you making yourself a God, talking about God as your father. They didn't think he was calling himself God. They thought he was calling himself equal to God by even saying son. So y'all would have got y'all ass swiped up too. And what y'all do is y'all distort the truth of it. And then your shit is so bad, you can't even trace it through the church fathers who y'all be wearing these Orthodox shirts for. Y'all is just as much bullshit as the Hebrew Israelites. Y'all don't go to church. Y'all don't celebrate these Christian holidays. Now I rest my case.
Okay. I'm going to share one thing in the back chat from David Litwer. Saying one thing in the chat from David Litwer, and that simply is Tatian arrived in Rome around 160 Common Era, and yes, he did receive education there.
Get that shit up out of here. Get that shit up out of here.
I know.
David Litwer speculating. That's what y'all academics and scholars do. I like a lot of them. I like David Litwer. I'm sure if you look into that, he'll say we don't have much information on Tatian. All we have is through these sources.
I agree.
Church fathers.
I agree, Theo.
You try to act like you spiking something for.
I said that already. Repeating my statements I made earlier doesn't help you because they were my statements initially. Thank you for piggybacking on my initial comments.
You tried to spike David
Greatly
Litwer
appreciated.
because you don't look at the sources.
I'm not citing Litwer. I'm citing the sources. Do you want the book? I'll give you the book, Theo.
What's the book?
What's the book?
Okay, it's in the back chat. The name of the book is called Found Christianity's Remaking the World of the 2nd Century CE. It was again, David Litwer. Why are you acting like I'm not giving? You want the pages? The pages are page 213 to 14. Page 213 through 14. That's the exact source from the exact book in question.
Who printed it? What printing press did it come off of?
TNT Clark out of New York.
And who was the publishing company that signed him? We need
TNT
to know all of that.
TNT Clark.
Is the man who typed it or wrote it right hand or left hand?
Good question. You should ask him.
We need to know everything.
Yeah, I'm pedestrious. I'm on mute just listening to somebody get turned to ashes. So who getting turned to ashes right now? Who up on the scope?
Hold on. You always, when I bring David Litwer, you always shoot him down, but it's funny you bringing him down to try to support your claim. When I know that
scholarship,
David Litwer,
Theo, you're the one that rejects scholarship. Please stop lying about your own position.
Hold on. But oftentimes when I got my foot in your ass, you often go into the scholarship to ridicule me for bringing.
Yeah, you gay. Hey, Hodge, I got one question for you.
He had his foot in your ass wiggling his toes around in your gut.
I'm still talking. So now, you said David Litwer was the source. I'm asking you, was David Litwer speculating, or he gave you a concrete source to say that Tatian was in Rome?
Yeah, it's actually from a concrete source concerning the man's known biography in light of what the church fathers report concerning his traversing territories.
Bluffing, man.
He's citing the church fathers.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna sit right here and I'm gonna find it. Let's see if it's in here.
Good, because you have to buy the book. Or did you want the copy of the book? I'll get you the book for you.
You got
whoa.
You
got David Litwer? Whoa. You got David Litwer's book? You got David Litwer's book?
See how you trying to hang on the line? He heard me say church fathers 3 times. Whoa. You got David Litwer's book?
Well, I mean, if I go to the book.
You said the church fathers.
If I go to his book, I'm going to go to his book then, Theo. Shut up.
Courtney.
Give me a second, Theo.
See, I love exposing you. I love
the primary sources of the individual themselves, and that's going to be from the church fathers. Yeah, Theo.
You should have heard what he said the other day to the other group, or to Honey's group. Oh my gosh. He said archaeologists use the book of John to go on their digs.
They definitely do. You didn't notice?
Well, get your ass out of here.
Would you like the book? Oh, wait, I can do this for you, Theo. I'm going to share with
She's a naturally dominant personality. She has lunch every day with Rosalind and Sarah.
Must be some Christian archaeologists.
First, she stays out of contact. You look up to
That is not how that field works.
She connects all the dots.
She doesn't fit the analytics. She'll make up her mind and
I'm gonna go over here and look for a nail. I want to find a nail that was in Jesus' hand. When scholars right now are arguing if Jesus was actually a real person. But you telling me that people are putting millions behind what a lot of people call a myth. I'm gonna go find me a unicorn. Give me $1 million. Now I'm a believer, but you got to know what the shit look like. Telling me God came down here, put on a flesh suit, died on the cross. Oh.
Theo, you said hell
So
no.
did Courtney left?
Yeah,
Did Courtney hang up like while y'all were talking, or did he get a call or
he might
something?
have got cut off. He was, I
He
think he
went
was
to get
talking.
something. He went to get something, I think.
Yeah, he said he was about to hop off.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
So far, is Courtney getting chewed?
Fuck.
Hey Hodge, that's what Afi asked. I asked who getting turned to ashes, who up on the score.
What y'all got for us? What's going on so far?
Mm-hmm.
Theo
I
kept
don't
trying
know
to
nothing about no
talk,
argument like
and
that.
every time Theo was talking, you know, he was getting ran down by Courtney, who wanted him to read what he put in the back. I think we finally got out what Theo's contention was at first, and now they've moved that contention about the church fathers and stuff to the Trinity. Now it's
Yeah,
like back to that argument, which I think also kind of relates though, because it's like who has the authority here? Who
yeah.
created this and who has the authority to make it
Church father.
orthodox or doctrine?
Mm-hmm.
Honey, you picked up on a good point when you said in the back chat, because that to me, he was exactly trying to put that rule of faith and trying to say that that's when the orthodoxy began, because he said that was the pre-creedal. Like he gets slick with his words. You know what I mean? But when he says pre-creedal, to me, that's just like he's saying pre-Trinitarian. So he's basically confirming that was the creed. So he's saying that rule of faith was the creed that they all went by, which is also not true, because the church never was a monolith. They always had tension with other ones.
So Theo, what's the claim that you're going against?
What Courtney said, so it all started from when you came in earlier in that video, right? Courtney comes in and was saying that all the church fathers in general agree, right? Which I kick back against that, because that's such a crazy statement to make, considering all the different things they touch on. That's just a crazy statement to make, besides the fact that they had councils about how they agree
Theo,
this or that. Yeah.
What claim are you going against?
That one, that the church fathers had all agreed, in that the orthodoxy went back into Jesus' time.
Calling church fathers. Because wasn't that the whole reason Jesus was mad? Because the church was doing stupid shit that he felt was against what they were doing. Like which church fathers is he talking about? The people who people call like
the
you got to define church.
What?
You got to. You talking about Jesus' lifetime? You got to define church then.
Right, I was about to say that, because in that time period of Jesus, if we're going to go by that timeline, then he will be talking about like the priests and the motherfuckers who like be in these mega churches or just a little small village church. Like he didn't give a fuck. He basically was like, this is how you preach this word, and this is how you don't do it.
Well, to me, technically, how we know church, there were no churches in Jesus' day. There was a temple. There was a temple. We often spoke out against the high priest, like the brother said. That was a Jewish temple. So Jesus
So if
left,
there were
we
no
had
church,
groups
if there were no churches in Jesus' time, how do you put church fathers in Jesus' time?
I didn't.
Who did?
I don't think anybody did. What Courtney was saying was, and forgive me if I confused y'all, what Courtney was saying was, he was confirming that the Orthodox goes back to the apostles. The apostles are in Jesus' time. This wasn't a new statement made by them. This is something that they all say, that the Orthodoxy goes back into Acts, or Jesus with the apostles.
Could you give an example? Could you give an example of orthodoxy from the disciples that Courtney says is so, and you saying no, it's not? They didn't believe that.
He called that shit what did he call that shit?
The rule of faith, that which I said
Yeah,
that
the
that's not the
rule of
same
faith.
thing because he can't give one. That's what I was saying. That's what I was
Okay.
telling you. There is nothing.
Okay, that's nuts. So Courtney said the orthodoxy goes back to the disciples, but he can't give an example of a rule of orthodoxy from the disciples.
Right.
Courtney, did you fail at doing that?
Number one, Theo, a fucking lie. His initial
Huh?
claim and the reason why he
I knew
pressed
it. I
charges.
knew it.
The initial claim and the reason why he pressed charges and the reason why he's trying to play dumb is because he got called out earlier. And what he got called out on was his initial claim for charges, which was, I said orthodoxy goes back to Jesus.
Okay.
What does it go back to?
As all of the information I shared stated, the church fathers state that the statement of faith is derived from apostolic teaching that has been handed down.
From who?
Handed down from who?
Apostolos. I don't know. What is apostolic teaching handed down to them?
Right, that's what I'm saying, huh?
Yeah, I know, but Courtney, can you give an example of one of those teachings?
Oh, yes. Here's one of them, because you actually find some of this outside of the church fathers and in the Didache. You know, that text that's allegedly from the fathers. And that's where you start seeing the early practices of Christianity put into a singular work claimed to be directly from the apostles in general. One thing you find there is that baptism formula that's also in the Gospel of Matthew, baptized in the name of Father, Son, and Spirit, and it's literally right next to how the Acts record how they baptize, and that's using the name of Jesus alone. So both are side to side. That's still being practiced, actioned out, and theologically recognized by Trinitarians in particular in their creed and orthodoxy and orthopraxy, their practice and their belief.
So, Theo, from what he gave and his examples, do you disagree that was taught by the disciples, apostles?
I disagree with him. I think he's giving fluff. I believe, and here's what I disagree with. He is saying that he's just trying to make y'all think that this is orthodoxy. He's not describing orthodoxy there. He's describing certain practices that certain people take on.
Okay, so you agree that what he did give examples of, those would be teachings coming from the disciples, right?
Yes, they potentially could be the teachings coming from disciples, yes.
Okay, do you know of okay, that's fine. Do you know of anything that you could think of that Courtney believes in that would not have come from the disciples or some apostles?
Yes, that Jesus is God.
Courtney, so on the table now, that's not orthodoxy from the apostles that Jesus is God. He said they didn't believe that. And you say what?
Aristides.
He wasn't an apostle.
Exactly. He's a church father. And he says that you find this information in the Gospels. You can read and find the power therein.
What information?
The information where God clothed himself in flesh and Son of God lived in the virgin womb of Mary. Well, he doesn't mention Mary, but in the womb of the woman.
Can you pull it out? Can you pull it out from any apostles for us from the Gospels?
Yeah, John chapter 1, verse 1, verse 14, verse 18. The whole prologue of John sort of summarizes a lot of that, but you only get the virgin woman language in Matthew and Luke.
Okay, I got you. So let's deal with John 1:14. Because Theo did say Jesus was God. So we're going to start where Jesus comes into play. So verse 14, that determines Jesus is God, right?
Oh, I think it's saying God became human. And that entity as God human, the God man, is Jesus.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, so did the disciples teach that understanding?
Yes, it's in the Gospels.
No. The wording is there.
We're talking about
interpretation. So we're talking about interpretation now because Theo has the exact same text. Hold on a second. Theo has the exact same text you have, reading the exact same text that you are, but his conclusion is different than your conclusion. He says that logos, that God thing, he said it indwelled Jesus. Jesus was a man, 100% indwelled by that logos. That's his interpretation of the exact same text. So what I'm asking you is, did the apostles teach it how he understands it or how you understand it?
I think their condensed summary would have been more in agreement to my perspective. And again, the evidence of this is number one in the baptism formula, where these apostles are saying baptize either strictly in the name of Jesus or in the tripartite name of Father, Son, Spirit. So in both of them, you have either Jesus or Jesus as Son alluded to in the baptism formula. This is part of their theology. And I think it does suggest very elevated things concerning the nature of Christ that Theo's not willing to take in consideration. Secondly, again, roughly 20 years after, 30 years after the Gospel of John was written, you have Aristides saying that you can read in the Gospel, God came down from heaven and clothed himself in flesh, and the Son of God lived in the Virgin's womb. And he already introduced who's the Son of God, Jesus Christ.
Why did you mention the time period in which Aristides wrote that?
Oh, because it's very close proximity to the initial composition of the Gospel of John. And he also uses the Gospels as his own source. And he says, you guys can go and read it here because this is the material from the apostles that was for a short time preached. And now you can read therein and conceive the power therein.
All right, so Theo, you got any kind of rebuttal?
I got quite a few of them. One, that Aristides, we read from the other day, that Syriac one. I did some more research on it. The scholars who were putting these works forward, says that the Syriac version is altered, and basically that the Christian version is one that's been finagled. Let's just say finagled, right? Basically insinuating that there's been alterations to the Christian portion of it. The original Greek doesn't go into it like that. So what was the other point? He had another point. About the apostles. Okay, yeah, this is my big point. If the apostles were so clear on their teachings as Courtney's suggestion, we would not have had all these debates amongst the Christian community all the way throughout, leading up to councils and all these different kind of things, and arguing over is Jesus God? Is Jesus a man? Is Jesus that? If the apostles taught that, it would not have been an argument.
No,
we got to be clear. Yeah, we got to be clear, Theo, because with the first part about alterations, do you know which parts were altered?
Yeah, what I read is basically they were saying that it's the Christian, specifically the Christian, when they start talking about the four groups of people.
Yeah,
they said basically the Christian part looks like it's been altered.
And but which part was altered?
About their faith being let me get it right quick. About their faith being the right one. But let me.
Yeah, but notice the question. You have to bring back what they altered. So Courtney gave very specific stuff. That's one. So you got to bring back what they altered, so we know that this part was you're wrong, Courtney, because this part that you say is from the apostles was actually altered. You have to bring that back. Firstly, secondly, you have to clarify the councils were they about whether Jesus was God or he was God, but how?
Okay, and then one more thing, Hodge, because I forgot we didn't talk about this here. Another issue is that the one where Aristides, like I made the claim that day that they were just plucking things out of there, and I went in. I don't know if Courtney was here for that. I think he was, but what Aristides was saying was he wasn't giving a testament of his faith. He was basically saying he earlier on in that writing, he talks about how his belief in God. He gives a testament of his belief in God and how God is not a man. God, can't be born. All these different kind of things. Then he goes into the Christians.
Why is that relevant?
It's relevant because he said if he says that the Christians are the closest to the truth, he does not believe that man Jesus is God either.
Yeah, but how is that relevant?
It's relevant to the fact is that he doesn't believe that the Christian writings are even saying that Jesus is God. So this idea that that these writings and these teachings from the apostles teach that Jesus was God, he is not saying that. He's not confirming that. Matter of fact, he's actually, without saying it, by giving his own testimony of his belief in God and saying that they're closest to it, as opposed to other groups where he specifies that some people see humans as God, some people see God as animals. He makes a distinction with all those different kind of people and says that the Christians are closest to the truth. They believe in one God, and everything that is done is a work of God. So I'm seeing that as he's saying that Jesus, no matter what his status, he's still a work of God.
Okay. Courtney, you did bring Aristides, right, as an example?
Right, like literally a couple minutes ago, because none of this was the issue. Our charges were supposed to be put on people to begin with.
I did put them on you.
Yeah, I know. Brand new charges. You changed the dividend.
What did I change?
Number one, you changed the charge. Number one, you changed the charge.
Wait, what did I change? Okay. So we
You
can go
went
on
from,
honestly. So
I'm
hold on. I'm about to let you
really
talk.
tired of repeating
I'm about
myself.
to let you talk. So I'm asking you, what was the charges and what did I change? Go ahead.
The initial charges, number one, you wanted to charge Will as an accessory for
Your
being
charges.
okay. I'll be quiet on answering any of your dumbass questions because you won't allow me to answer them. Now, to address one of the last comments that Theo made concerning
What?
this.
Are you not gonna answer what I said, bro? You
Did
brought
you
up
hear what I
Will.
said?
This ain't got shit to
Can
do
y'all
with
hear me?
Will.
Mic check. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
we
hear you.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. So yeah, in regards to one of the last things that Theo said, relating to Aristides, and I don't know if you heard it before I interrupted. Theo made a comment concerning Aristides. He said the original Greek. He said it, not me, because he said the Syriac was edited. By the way, the section in question that I've been quoting
What does that prove, though? Tell us why you said that. Why'd you say it? So I can follow along. Did you know why you said that? I'm serious.
It's a miracle.
I'm literally trying to finish my statement.
Why did he say it though?
I don't know why you keep.
What'd you say?
Because he's Syrian, you dumbass.
I'm trying to address
he's
it,
fucking
Theo.
Syrian, but the oldest is Greek.
Theo, great, because you've been emphasizing what he didn't know, or you've been emphasizing he wrote in Syrian. He was a Syrian author.
See how you saw that lie?
Syrian. You've been emphasizing the Syrian.
That's why I asked his ass. They be bullshitting and Mike was backing them. They be lying, these little slick bastards.
I don't know why this brother can't allow other people to speak for a second. But Theo's the one that's been emphasizing that he was a Syrian and the Syrian language as it relates to this author. And I've also been sharing both forms, the Greek and the Syriac form, because there is no dispute that section that I've been alluding to the whole time from Aristides is present in both forms. So if it's in the original Greek and that some of these statements are distorted in the Syriac, we still got it because it's in the other translation or in the original language text. It's not in dispute, and it's in both present forms that we have today.
Okay. All right, so Theo, when Aristides said that it could be found in the Gospels, what could be found in the Gospels?
Their story. Why they believe the Christian stories, and why they believe what they believe.
Okay, so where's Courtney wrong?
Courtney is wrong because none of them, just how he was doing John, and Salim was reading it before you got here. Their idea of John is incorrect. Their idea that Jesus is up there in John 1 through 2 and all this, that's wrong. Aristides didn't see it that way because Aristides was a philosopher. Aristides
Hold on. Can you keep going away from anything that I asked?
Keep me online. Yeah, come on.
Okay. So what I'm asking is, you bring Aristides into the argument. Courtney, but Courtney brought him in to show he gave the statement that it's found in the Gospels. After
Yes.
he described the Christian belief, which was that God, was clothed in flesh and born of a woman. He said all of that. Then he said to that, this things that I'm telling y'all could be found in the Gospels. So we got that on the table from Courtney. And I'm asking you now, and that is in the Gospels. It does say all of that stuff in God. So
yes.
Where is he wrong? Where is Courtney wrong? Or where's Courtney wrong? I'm gonna ask you that.
He's wrong by not just him, but he's wrong by saying that makes Jesus God. What happens is just like a philosopher would understand it. Not only Aristides, but also Tatian, which we brought forward today. There's a relationship that goes on with the Father and the Logos. The Logos is the Son. It's not a second deity. It is God. It does not lose its God. It comes forth from God. And that takes up tabernacle in people. That's when Salim read John 1 through,
I get that, but you have to understand what's going on. Courtney's not arguing any position at all. He's only quoting what Aristides said. Aristides first described the Christian belief as God coming down from heaven, being born of a woman, clothed in flesh. Courtney simply repeated what Aristides wrote. That's it. He didn't get to any details. Okay. And then after Aristides said that, he then said, you can find what I just stated in the Gospels. Courtney has now to do, really, Aristides, let me go look. He opens the Gospels and he finds these statements there. He does find the woman giving birth. He identifies the one she gave birth to as Jesus. So anything that Aristides said in his statement would apply to that baby Jesus, which is God coming down from heaven. All Courtney's doing is reading what Aristides said, following him along into the Gospels and seeing it in the text for himself. That's all he's doing. So I'm trying to figure out where Courtney is in error.
He's in error when he's in two ways. When he says that's Aristides confirming that Jesus is God, that is incorrect.
That's very correct.
That's incorrect. That is incorrect. And I pointed that out that day. I've shared the things. Aristides, who was a Athenian philosopher, his mindset would be like Plato.
But he said what he said, though. But okay, I'll give an example. But you're going to repeat what you've been preaching for 3 days. And what I'm saying is, what Courtney laid out, you have to attack what he said. I'm Muslim, right? Everybody knows what Muslims believe. But let's just say I come in and I make a statement that the God is not a monolith. There's many gods. And I say all of this shit. And they all hear me say it. They even record me saying it. Just because I'm a Muslim doesn't mean that statement I made is untrue. They're going to find conflict with me. Hold on, how you supposed to be a Muslim and believe this? Then you stated this. There's a problem here that has to be rectified, right? So, despite of what Aristides claimed to believe in, he went to the Christians, described their belief in some type of detail, and then said it's from God, number one, and two, you can find it in the Gospels. He's saying this. So if he said first, all the stuff is incorrect, but you find it in the Gospels, how does him disbelieving in it mean it's not in the Gospels?
What Aristides explicitly said, though, he says that they are the closest to the truth.
Exactly.
He was not right. He said they're the closest to the truth. He didn't say they had the whole. So when you look at what Aristides says about God and all these other groups that he's listed, because he's talking to Christians amidst the other groups, and I'm looking through the thing to get it right now. He is not saying two things. He's not saying. He's not even saying that the Christians believe that Jesus is God. That's Courtney and them who believe that Jesus
he
is
said
God.
it.
What? Hold on.
He said
Hold on. Just let me finish. He didn't say that Jesus was God because Jesus is born.
Okay, I get that part. I hear what you're saying, though, but Courtney, Theo, we get the part where he gave his faith, but we're not talking about the Christian faith. We're talking about the Christian orthodoxy. That's what we're talking about. And that's not determined by whatever Aristides believes.
Okay.
That's according to how the Christians believe. And Aristides described what Christians believe, which matches what Courtney is saying.
I'm at Aristides right now. I'll read it. Now the Christians trace their origin from the what's going on, bro? Now the Christians trace their origin from the Lord Jesus Christ, and he's acknowledged by the Holy Spirit to be the Son of the Most High God, who came down from heaven for the salvation of men. And being born of a pure virgin, unbegotten and immaculate, he assumed flesh and revealed himself among men, that he might recall them to himself from their wandering after many gods. And having accomplished his wonderful dispensation by a voluntary choice, he tasted death on the cross, fulfilling August's dispensation. And after 3 days, he came to life again and ascended into heaven. And if you would read, O king, you may judge the glory of his presence from the holy gospel writing, as it is called among themselves. He had 12 disciples, who after his ascension into heaven went forth into the provinces of the whole world and declared his greatness. As for instance, one of them traversed the countries about us, proclaiming the doctrine of the truth. From this it is that they who still observe the righteousness enjoined by the preaching are called Christians. So again, there is in the Bible, there's a description of a manner in which God came down from heaven, indwelled a woman. That in that woman, the Holy Spirit conceived a boy. That boy is the Son of God. It is not God. So they're saying there's okay, but that's what it say.
Yeah, but okay, I get that. So here's my contention, right? With everything you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
If at the beginning Aristides lays out his faith, right? What he believes,
yes.
God is not. Let's just say God is not born, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for him, the truth is God is not born, right?
Right. Exactly.
Is he a Christian speaking as a Christian at this point?
No.
No. Okay. So that faith that he declared is his own faith, not the Christian faith, right?
Right.
Okay. Then after he did that about his personal belief, he then describes the Christian faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he's done doing that, he tells you a couple things. He says, this is nearest to the truth. This is a comparison, I guess, between what he feels the truth is and what Christians believe, right? So he says they're near, but they're not quite there yet, right?
Yes.
So he disagrees with the Christians. All Courtney is saying is that these beliefs that he has were present at that day and time. Aristides' explanation of Christian faith determines that. He's telling you the same thing Courtney's telling you. They believe this stuff. Then he tells you where you can find the court on where the court can be found. Right. So this is not about a comparison between what Aristides believed and what Christians believe. We're only trying to determine what the Christians believe. That's all we care about. And he described what they believe, and it matches everything that Courtney believes.
Okay, well, let me read one more thing right under that.
Okay.
And it says, these are they who more than all the nations on earth have found the truth, for they know God, the creator and fashioner of all things, through the only begotten Son and the Holy Spirit. And besides him, they worship no other God. They have the commands of the Lord Jesus Christ himself graven upon their hearts. So even what he's saying, he's showing that these Christians have a distinction between the Father and the Son. They have a distinction. They don't call Jesus God.
Courtney, you still here?
No, sir.
Do you, in your belief, do you have a distinction between the Father and the Son?
And the Spirit, because I heard him say Holy Spirit too, yes.
So Courtney also believes in a distinction between the Father and the Son. But where is he different now?
Okay, he's different by how he just said earlier, how I said, how do you not have two gods when we're having that other conversation? And he's also different is that even this son, hold on, I'm about to go back here. I'm about to go back to this too. But even what we just read right here, the begotten Son and the Holy Spirit, where Courtney differs is that these are also, they're not only begotten, so they have a creation, but they are subordinates to that. The Christians do not believe that this is a co-equal thing with God and the Son and the Holy Spirit. They don't have this kind of belief that Courtney and them have.
Okay. So now you're going to something else now.
No, this is the same thing, bro. What I'm telling you
It's
is that,
not.
listen.
We all say it's not. We all of us say it's not the same thing. You're the only one saying it is the same thing. You don't find a problem with that?
Let me make it clear. Let me make it clear. The belief is that this whole thing initially started with, is their belief like the church fathers? This
Is their belief what?
Is their belief identical to
No.
church fathers?
You brought charges today against Courtney.
Yes.
I asked you to clarify. I asked you to clarify those charges.
Yes.
Not what happened days ago.
Yes, but the charges against Courtney today were what?
You tell me. You brought them.
Okay, I brought the charges against Courtney saying that orthodoxy went back to Jesus' day through the apostles, right? And Courtney also,
and he proved it.
He did not prove it.
With a Ricity statement, he did. With a Ricity statement, he did prove it. That's why he brought it.
Hold on. You went blank, so I'll let you finish your statement.
He's
not proving that.
He did when he brought a Ricity statement.
Did not. A Ricity statement is not one of orthodoxy, Hodge.
Huh?
A Ricity statement is not one of orthodoxy. This is their belief of who this man is, but there are different beliefs within those Christian communities, and they are also none of them believe.
That's fine. Yes. But what he described, by definition, what he described is somebody's orthodoxy. Whoever he was talking about, that's the orthodoxy. All the four groups that he named and described, he described 4 different groups and their respective orthodoxies. All 4 of them were different, and they all were orthodox positions that he described.
Okay, how do you describe orthodoxy?
Because he's telling you what rules and regulations they have established for themselves. That's what an orthodoxy is. And he described 4 different groups, but the way he was able to pinpoint and say, these guys believe ABC. Why? Because it's already established. The second group, I'm going to say this here. The second group, they believe ABC. He's able to say that because those beliefs are already established. When it comes to the Christians, they believe ABC. Why can he say that? Because those beliefs have already been established. That's orthodoxy.
Okay, so a couple things. One, when somebody says they are an Orthodox Christian, are they saying that they are in agreement with all Christians, or their specific Orthodox branches of Christianity that have their own specific sets of?
The second one. The second one.
So they have different sets. And also too, when you talk about what Aristides is dealing with, their beliefs are not even that well known amongst even the Greeks. That's why he's defending them. And he's telling you that these beliefs, what they have, everything that they're saying to you, all these different beliefs that they have, they are not atheists. They believe in one God and one God only. And he's defending them against
that's orthodoxy.
Okay. That's not orthodoxy, bro.
Bro, listen, he's giving you, it wasn't just that statement that, he gave several things when he spoke. You can find these things in the Gospels. What do you mean that's not orthodoxy?
Okay. In the specific Gospels, Hodge, you cannot find Jesus being called God.
Courtney pointed it out.
He did not. Because can we not do that? Okay, you don't even read, so who you gonna pray to?
I'm about to start praying.
Here we go. Here we go.
Hey, Courtney.
Yes, sir.
I just said I'm about to start praying.
I'm saying, Courtney. All y'all, here we go.
Yes.
Hey, Courtney, what did Thomas say? What did Thomas call Jesus?
Thomas is in the Gospels. Thomas is in the Gospels now.
Actually, yes, he is in the Gospel.
Yeah, he's in John.
Okay, y'all talking about So tell me. So in John, Thomas says, "My Lord and my God." He's acknowledging two different beings.
I was asked the question.
No, so now it's over though, Hodge, because everybody about to jump in. Now,
it is over.
Yeah, I got you.
I guess it is over. So yeah, in the text that Theo just mentioned, he misspoke. The text says explicitly, Thomas said to Jesus. So we know that the statement has an addressee, and that's Jesus. If you want to deal with the Ambrosial language, Greek, who whatever you want to call it. It says Jesus. He's speaking to Jesus. And the response is the Lord of me and the God of me. My Lord and my God. To Jesus. That's what the text says. Leandre, I'm sorry about that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, if this was a trial, if Courtney was on trial, he wasn't proven guilty of any wrongdoing. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
Not even not guilty. You might have to pay Courtney after this.
I plead the fifth. I didn't even have to plead anything for real.
They can dismiss the charges all the way up until trial. Good plan. You know, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it is interesting though. You got any other questions for me,
I
Hodge?
disagree though.
In light of this whole
I'm
situation?
not in Theo's
No,
argument, but
no.
that wouldn't have flew with me. You better be glad he off the phone.
Is she talking to us?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you say it again?
I said that argument wouldn't have flew with me. I'm talking about, so he said, my Lord and my God. The fuck?
I mean, it is addressed to Jesus in the text though.
Why wouldn't that work?
Why wouldn't that work?
Why wouldn't that be an indicator of what they thought about who Jesus was, my Lord and my God?
Theo says
For
because
one, when he said that, this is when he was saying he didn't even think that it was Jesus. It's when he came back from the dead. Right? And Thomas was saying, like, nah, unless I see the nail marks in his hands and, see his side and everything, I wouldn't,
Right.
I'm not thinking about shit. You got me fucked up. Right? So then
Right.
Jesus came to him and he's like, put your finger here. You see my hands and all this other shit. Stop doubting and believe. And he was like, oh, my Lord and my God. Did Jesus?
Okay.
yes.
So what do you? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
I'm not saying that's not decreeing that Jesus is God.
Yeah. So hold on. So Amir, just like sometimes you say, "Oh my God," you're not actually, saying, "Oh my God," like you believe in a God. It's just a reaction.
That's a totally different context.
No. Hold on.
That's exactly the context.
Yeah.
He was shocked.
It's entirely not.
Why do you say, Amir? Amir, why do you say it?
Huh?
Why do you say it's totally different context?
Because like me saying, like in exasperation, like, oh my God, and hey, I have this guy who I believe in, who's my leader, who I follow, who I know died, and then that person manifests himself in front of me and furnishes reasons to believe that this person is the same person who I thought was who I'm saying he is, my Lord and my God, before, is who I'm acknowledging in front of me right now. But because he was doing it solely to provide the evidence of who he was.
So it
wasn't an exasperation or like it wasn't that.
So for you, it was a realization and a confirmation.
Because right after that, they explained that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name, not that he is God. And this is written right after that.
I was gonna say, honey, I was actually gonna use like a Patron, but Peter verse or Titus, one of the Granville Sharp verses, because they're pretty explicit. They're not like that. So I would have used one that said the great God and Savior Jesus Christ. And then I could have also cited church fathers who are also using the very same language early on. The Lord or our great God and Savior Jesus Christ. Because there you got God applied to Jesus.
So let me ask you a question. Oh, I can't hear. Did she say go ahead? Yeah, I was talking to Honey.
Denise.
Okay, so as far as that being a bit of evidence, right, that was presented, and was presented in favor of Courtney, do you say no? That doesn't help Courtney's case at all. The Thomas verse.
If I was Theo, I would have definitely pushed back on that because it's not proclaiming him to actually be God. And the clarification after that clarified that he was Messiah, the Son of God.
He pushed back on that, but not as far. But thanks, honey.
I think it's to me.
Yeah, no,
I think it's ample.
Fascinated by this.
I think it's ample pushback against that verse to remove it.
What do you mean remove
Say that.
it?
Because we're talking about evidences, right? And so you were bringing stuff in your favor. You brought Aristides, which is on the table. Theo hasn't, to me, thwarted that yet. He hasn't kicked it out yet. But what's his name? What's his name brought you the Thomas verse? Then you had Theo pushback, of course. Then you had Honey pushback, of course. And she explained the pushback. Theo kind of explained his pushback, and there's enough there to show that maybe it wasn't meant the way you think it was meant.
Yeah,
Maybe your
so
interpretation is not the top interpretation.
I wouldn't have used that verse to prove that point in that instance.
Okay, so you remove it too then. Okay, so for you yourself, remove it.
No, I'm just saying I wouldn't use that as my primary point of reference. I would have gone to other passages that are a little more explicit that say our great God and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Okay, let's do that one then.
Verses in that manner.
You said, okay, so Theo, do you have opposition to the word Lord being used as saying he is God? Do you think there's a difference?
Yes.
So my Lord, saying Jesus is my Lord is not saying he's God, right? Is that what you're saying?
No. He's not saying he's God. He's there. He's their possessor. He's their Elohim. You can say he's their ruler.
He's their master,
he's not
whatever.
The Most High. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Courtney, you said explicit. That wasn't explicit.
Yeah, this isn't a Lord passage.
You said. I thought you said my Lord, my Savior.
No, like Titus 2:13.
Oh, that ain't gospel.
That ain't gospel. I don't know why you're trying to make it seem as if I said it's got to come from the gospel. I said I wouldn't have used.
You did.
I said I wouldn't have used the John reference to show that Jesus is called God in the Bible.
Aristides' statements about it could be found in the Gospels is really the only thing that held you in place against Theo earlier. So now you want to get out of the Gospels?
If that's the case, I mean, just as it relates to the strict wording, God applied to Jesus. That's all I was saying there. But if that's the case, no, you could still use the context of the prologue of the Gospel of John. You could still use the synoptic text, especially the double curios text, where they come unto Jesus saying, Lord, Lord, and Jesus replies, get from in front of me, I did not know you, on the day of judgment. Because throughout the Tanakh, the only individual who is seated in that, in that position, receiving these type of terms of direct address, Lord repeated, is Yahweh. The only. And in those instances, that's a much higher and elevated statement. And then you have other statements and actions of Jesus throughout the Gospels. I could just simply use the Gospel of Mark. The Gospel of Mark prefigures Jesus as Yahweh by means of its portrayal of one coming in the wilderness, preparing the way for the Lord. And the narrative continues to introduce John the Baptist and then Jesus. John saying there's one coming after me who's greater than I am. And so
what does
the
that
Lord,
mean? What does that mean? He's God?
Well, it would mean that John is the one who's literally in the wilderness proclaiming one coming after him who's going to be greater than him.
Okay.
And the one that comes after him is Jesus. So the Old Testament prophecies that set up the narrative are Yahweh text. In that sense, Jesus is Yahweh.
I got 2 points I want to make after you're done with that.
All right. So, Courtney, by your statement you just made, you're pretty convinced. It's pretty clear to you what the Gospels say about Jesus being God, right?
In a Jewish way, yes.
So, okay.
In a Jewish way, yes.
What?
In a Jewish way, yes. Because Jesus is having interactions in his own cultural milieu, where he was depicted as being a Jew and interacting primarily with people of Jewish ethnicity in the Second Temple Jewish religious system. So
what else? So what else is there besides the Jewish sense? We have another sense we could use.
Well, some people, Theo, suggest that it was a little more diverse for Jesus, and then we stepped away from Judaism right before his execution, according to the Gospel of God. That means something different.
So Courtney,
yes, it is a fact that earlier today Theo said it was bullshit. Man. Yeah, Hodge wasn't on the call, I don't think, but earlier today Theo did say it was bullshit. All this Jewishness going back to the fathers, and I mean going back not to the fathers but to the disciples and Jesus' context. He had comments like that earlier today.
Can't even last straight.
So if these things to you, as you demonstrated, are so crystal clear, what was the use of the councils? What were they discussing or debating? If they were as clear about it as you are right now, what's the back and forth about for like 300, 400 years? What was that about?
Well, there wasn't back and forth in councils for 300 years. It took 300 years for them to even be able to have such an ability, because they were a persecuted religion on and off and in different regions within the Roman Empire for the first 300 years.
Okay. I know I got you right there. Okay, so
it was much more regional, but in light of their localness, there was a very large interconnectedness, because they wrote letters to each other, they shared books with each other, and it took time for this to happen and for everybody to get access to the very same collection of literature. I would say the New Testament was sort of crystallized by about 100 years before Nicaea, with all 27 books we can call today's New Testament canon being present.
Okay, so you said 100 years before Nicaea, right? What time period is that?
That would be the 3rd century.
Okay, if that's the 3rd century, I think the claim was that the orthodoxy goes back to the disciples. And you're talking now about 300 years later. This is going on.
No, I'm just 300 years later for everybody to basically have the same collection of books. Yes.
Okay.
For the New Testament.
Okay. So you're talking about the New Testament, right? So if the Gospels are the source, if the Gospels are what tells us the Christian orthodoxy, and you're telling us now that this wasn't really situated properly until 300 years after Christ, all right? Or 200 years. Which one was it?
Not really, because again, Aristides is writing about.
No. I'm asking you about what you said.
Yeah,
not Aristides.
I'm putting all of this in context because
you don't have to.
Really important. I do have to. It's important because Aristides says you can read basically get the content of that rule of faith from the Gospels, which is apparently in circulation.
What rule of faith? What rule of faith? Describe the rule of faith.
The Christians get their religion starting from Jesus Christ. His whole statement about Jesus, the founder of the faith, the purpose of Jesus, his death, his 3rd day resurrection, God from heaven coming, all of that. He's saying you can get this information from the gospel.
Yeah, no, I get that, Courtney. I'm asking
the
this.
The gospels are in circulation already by that time.
Okay, so
what were the rest of the canon doesn't really coalesce for another 100 years. Even though, go ahead, I'm all that.
All right. Okay, so what I'm asking is if all these ideas were crystal clear, like you said. You said it took 300 years for them to actually get a place and a situation where they can discuss it. For 300 years, what were they doing if not in agreement with each other? What were they doing for 300 years? They weren't all on the same page, obviously.
They were in general agreement with each other because they were sharing literature, they shared opponents, and
what
they
literature?
talked about
What kind of literature? Because if the Gospels were there, as you stated before, what literature were they sharing that was outside of the Gospels that they were in disagreement about?
Oh, the church father letters.
The what?
Some of these very important church father letters. Their commentaries, these early church fathers' letters, commentaries and treaties against the heretics.
But you told us that you said that the orthodoxy was already established before. If it's already established, okay.
To discuss and debate heretics and identify heretical views in contrast to orthodox views already. It was already warned in the New Testament itself, Gospels and the rest of the New Testament. There's going to be
I know, but Courtney, this is the part you're not telling everybody. It's not like it's like, for instance, you got the police department, they go out to a drug raid. It's a bunch of you got police officers in uniforms, and they're picking up dope dealers. So when you go on scene, you can say that nigga sells dope, that's a cop. That nigga sells dope, and that's a cop. It's obvious to see which side is which. But in this case, what you're talking about is these heretics. A lot of these heretics were actually led by other Christian leaders, other Christian church leaders. That one church leader, whatever he believes is orthodox, he would call another church leader a heretic. It's not like this other church leader was any different from the other church leader. Just this guy, for some reason, had more authority and more position, and he stood over the guy to say, hey, this guy is a heretic, and what I believe is correct. But what that shows, what Theo said initially, is that they didn't all agree on all of this stuff. That's what Theo said in the beginning. And what you're saying now, okay, who are heretics then? They weren't led by church fathers?
Let me explain this. From the get-go, there always was an ecclesiastical structure, even when it came to Paul. From the get-go, there was an ecclesiastical structure by which groups, not just one individual versus another, groups would establish and try to maintain orthodoxy in their local regions.
Okay.
When problems would arise, they would try to deal with those problems. Sometimes, like with Marcion, the nigga come in and he's wealthy, so it's hard to fight against him because he got that money. And he was able to bring a lot of people towards his perspective due to that type of economic influence in the region.
Was he paying them?
Well, yeah, he made a lot of luxurious deposits, not only to the church, but to a lot of people around during that time.
Oh, yeah.
So
Marcion,
there was already, and the initial critics of, say, Marcion, they don't have a pretty unified level of critique against them. And their level of critique is, hey, you're corrupting what has already been collected and functionally scripture. You're corrupting what we already have. You're changing stuff.
They strict Paulites, bro.
It's my last question. Does your orthodoxy, Courtney's orthodoxy, does that orthodoxy match what was believed by the disciples?
And I would say yes.
Did they believe that Jesus and the Father and the Holy Spirit were all the same essence? Did they believe that?
I do interpret the Matthew passage, Matthew 28, in that manner. So yes. Okay. And I would also say I also affirm of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, early creed as well, or Philippians chapter 2 type of creed as well. For hymns, I would sing these songs in my church today.
So did the disciples teach that?
Yes.
Would you teach?
It seems as if they did.
So they taught same essence?
They taught. I think that was, yes, I think that was part of the early apostolic tradition, which outside of the New Testament, outside of Matthew 28, it begins to be found in texts like the Didache, which is a collection of literature allegedly from the apostles. And again, look at the baptism formula. You have baptism in the name of Jesus, the book of Acts, and baptism in the name of Father, Son, Spirit. Why is there three? Oh yeah, Matthew 28. So you find both in the earliest traditions, and yet that's a diverse perspective. It's a diverse practice. And I think both are legitimate. I think that the Father, Son, Spirit one just goes back to Jesus.
Based on what?
Matthew 28, the gospel.
When he said three in heaven?
No, that's baptized in the name of Father, Son, and Spirit. Go and preach, baptizing in the name of the Father, Son, Spirit.
Yeah, I know.
You're thinking of 1 John 5. I'm not going to use that because I know in that gap part of the New Testament, it was much, 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 much later.
So I'm about to get up out of this, but so Theo, what do you think about that? What he just explained about, and one part is Jesus, but the other part is equally acceptable to say Father, Son, Holy Spirit, as if there is an equivocation of the two.
I just think it's, trying to stitch stuff together that ain't there.
But it is there. He literally quoted both.
Like,
that's what be blowing my mind.
Like
he quoted both.
He's quoting them, but he's saying he's showing that the baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, they are not the same thing. Like, there's a reason that it's being quoted that way.
Okay, give it to us.
But look, but hold on. I told you I wanted to make a point beforehand, right?
Okay.
So we in John 1, right? Now, John is talking about somebody coming to him, somebody coming after him. John never indicates that who's coming after him is God. He says, I'm looking for the verse right now. I'm gonna go to 18 first. No, I'm not gonna go to 18. Hold on. I was just looking for it. I got off of it, trying to follow him, but hold on. He says he looked up and saw Jesus and said, "Behold, the Lamb of God." Like, he's not saying that God is coming. Like, nobody, none of the apostles thought Jesus was God. Matter of fact, the New Testament points out many times that they didn't even understand what Jesus was saying to them, even to the point where they asked him, "Show us your God." Jesus replies,
so,
"If you
all right, so
the Father."
Got you. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Courtney a couple of questions. Courtney, when you mentioned John being in the wilderness, kind of making a way for the Lord, you're tying that back to a messianic prophecy in the Old Testament, right?
Yes, multiple, and I was going back to the Gospel of Mark in particular.
Okay, so in the Old Testament prophecy, who is that person in the wilderness making the way for? Exactly. So Theo, you get what he's telling you?
I get what he's telling me, but it's that one who's coming is the Messiah. And
that's not what the Old Testament
No, but it says Yahweh. It says Yahweh.
Hold on. Okay, but he is the Messiah is a representative of God, like he was in the Old Testament. Just like Cyrus being the Messiah was a representative of God, was an agent of God. This is the difference between what I've been telling them and what they've been saying.
But is Courtney wrong though?
Yes, Courtney is wrong.
Okay, how's he wrong?
He's wrong because Courtney is saying he's changing what the actual Old Testament prophecy is.
That's what it said, though. It said what he said. I read it.
Hold on. God has agents that represent him, just like Moses, just like Abraham, just like David. And this is what Jesus is in the line of. Courtney is taking Jesus out of what those were and saying that this is just God in the flesh. This is not what the apostles believed.
Why would he not believe that? If the text says that, why would he not but just believe what the text says? Why would he have? Why would he change it to? Oh, it's not Yahweh. It says Yahweh, but it's not Yahweh. It's an agent of Yahweh. Why would he add that to it?
But what he's adding to it is that agent is actually Yahweh himself. That's like
no. That's what the text is.
Brother, I'm telling you what the Christians believe. I'm telling you why Aristide said it. I'm telling you what the text says. Courtney
but
says,
he is a Christian.
Hold on.
Courtney is a Christian.
Hold on. You asked, was his belief like theirs? He had to stumble bumble and said, I say yeah. I say no, because the apostles didn't teach none of that stuff. That's why he walked up out of the Gospels and went into Paul's teachings.
If the apostles recognize that messianic prophecy from the Old Testament,
yes.
But Courtney, if Dan said that Yahweh is coming, so if they believe that and they believe Jesus fulfilled that prophecy, then they themselves believe that that's Yahweh.
Okay, but which one of them believe that Jesus fulfilled those prophecies that are in the Old Testament? Which one of them believe that? Because, and I say that because the woman at the well who is expecting a Messiah says that the Messiah is going to be a teacher of righteousness.
Okay,
she says that. So she's the first one to recognize what Jesus is, even when like they what's the name recognizes that, this is something from God. You know what I mean? My Lord, my God. But she calls him a prophet and a teacher of righteousness. The wisest man in Israel, Nicodemus, when he speaks to him, he says, you are a teacher from God. He's not saying that you're God. Why wouldn't the wisest man in all Jerusalem know that this is God sitting before him?
From the wisest man in all Jerusalem. I got a comment whenever Theo's done.
Like, why do 3 and 4 people always got to comment like teams? Let Courtney stand his punk ass up here.
Hello. I'm just waiting on your
So again, Courtney is deducing these things and he's having to jump around all the John and all these kind of things, but you can't find Jesus explicitly. Why wouldn't Jesus just say, hey, I'm God? Why wouldn't the apostles just say, hey, you're God?
Oh, that's easy. They're not Westerners living in the year 2026 there. And Jesus normally spoke in parables. So it would make sense that however Jesus self-identified, it would be in a parabolic mode, not in a strict, hi, my name is what? My name is who? My name is...
You're appealing now. Because the Bible
itself says God is not the author of confusion. I thought you were done.
Hold on. Doesn't the Bible say God is not the author of confusion? So you saying that Jesus... Can you stop talking?
Courtney was talking.
So can you understand?
You're interrupting Courtney to continue your
let him finish, Amira. Let him finish, Amira. It's okay. Go ahead, Theo. Continue.
Thank you. Get your ass back. So now, again, you are doing all this thing. You're doing all this. I deduce this. I deduce this. I can go to the Didache. I can do all this kind of stuff. But you can't find the apostle saying this is God. You can't find Jesus saying I am God. You can't find Jesus being brought up on charges for claiming to be the Son of God.
FYI, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 29 through 31, I think John, seeing Jesus, recognized who Jesus was before the woman. 3 chapters later, you misspoke, Theo. That's all I'm saying here. You misspoke. The woman was not the first to identify Jesus' identity. In any type of esoteric, would have been, at least in the Gospel of John, the Baptist, John, in chapter 1, 29 through 31. Now, also, you actually do see quite a bit of language throughout the New Testament, which is, and by the way, all the New Testament, according to the Christians, Theo, are believed to have been written by apostles, even if some of these texts are explicitly written by Paul. They think Paul was an apostle. So, I mean, if this is the corpus collection, that in 22 out of the 27 were functioning already by the mid-2nd century as canon for most Christians. It's quite interesting because I could go to any of those books And yes, some of them do speak of Jesus quite elevated. Like, I don't know if you noticed, Theo, but
Love, love, love.
James, the letter of James, is often believed to have been written before anything from Paul, probably as early as 35 to 39. I'm sorry, 49 to, yeah, in the mid to late 40s at its earliest. And it speaks of Jesus as the glorious Lord. Throughout the Old Testament, there's only one glorious Lord. His name is Yahweh. So, I mean, it is interesting, the cryptic, the esoteric, or from a Jewish perspective, fairly direct way of speaking about Jesus in very elevated terms that would cause pause for people of the Jewish Second Temple cultural milieu. No wonder why they write so much about Menachem, the Jesus, and the early Jesus followers in the Talmudic literature, calling them Manim. Manim being the rabbinical form of the word for heretic. Also suggesting they came from within Judaism. Isn't that interesting? Because they don't call any Greek philosophers or philosophies heretical.
Courtney, Courtney, do you know that Manian actually means the comforter? That dude that we were talking about that you just tried to interject into the conversation? Are you just pandering all over this stuff? Now,
Show it.
again.
That's your claim? Hajj, I press
No,
charges for
okay.
Theo to
We'll
prove
do
his
that after
point.
this. We'll do
I'm
that
doing
after
that
this.
now.
We'll do
Doing
this
it
after
now.
this. Okay. I
Prove your
told you to
point.
try to deflect.
Prove Manim
We
is the
talking about
comforter.
something right now. I didn't say he was the comforter. I said that it means the comforter.
Prove it. Prove it.
Okay. I will after this.
Great.
So now, again, you're doing everything but showing us. And you said John recognized before the woman. I'm glad you said that because John said, I did not know him, but you know how God told him before he got there that he would recognize him? He said that the Holy Spirit will descend upon him and take up abode. So that's backing you just walked right into my point. John did not know him, but because God sent the sign, which was the Holy Spirit, he knew that it took up abode in him. John called him the Lamb of God. Okay? So when you walk back there, you prove my point again. You won't find the apostles. You won't find a Jew calling him God in the way that y'all are calling him God. And I say in the way because you might be slick and try to use that ye are gods, like from Psalms. But we understand that as Elohim, but we know we have a problem with that, and I don't want to go there. But again, they know who Jesus is. When John knows when the dove ascends, the woman knows he is the Messiah by saying he's a teacher of righteousness. And Jesus, again, I pointed out earlier, Jesus makes clear that you would have had to know the Father prior to him coming to even know him. That is in the Gospels, in John. So again, all you're doing is you're plucking and you're picking these things and you're trying to back a doctrine that you think, that you're trying to sell that goes back. It doesn't go back, and to make it so bad, we see when the church got this problem. We see where they got this problem. All these different arguments about who he is. Was he human? Was he a spirit? Was he this? Was he that? All this backs my point. We've been talking for hours because you've been fighting something that wasn't even worth the fight. There was no orthodoxy till specific councils came in. And I pointed out to you in that Luke verse where the apostles walked out and said, "This is your name. We forbid him. He wasn't one of us." Jesus said, "I forbid you not." Yes, they said, "Forbid him not." So that man, Jesus acknowledged that man was a believer. And however he expressed it, Jesus said, "Forbid him not." And later on, these councils and all that kind of shit start trying to take control of everything, and they are the ones that messed it up. Text tell you all the ways that you shouldn't be judging other people, but y'all be judging people by that same shit. Don't do this to a brother. Don't do that. Display like this. Do this. But y'all be the ones claiming y'all orthodoxy, and nothing about your. And I'm not. This is me and you, Courtney. Nothing about your presentations of what you believe this to be is supporting the fact that you even know what orthodoxy is. You telling me what other people say orthodoxy is. You say all Christians believe that these scriptures come from the hand of the apostles. Bullshit. Because the smart Christians are accepting the fact that we really can't say where they came from. But that's irrelevant to them because they believe it by faith. Get yourself some.
So they
Theo,
do believe by faith that these texts are from the apostles. Interesting.
They believe it's from God. Divinely inspired. It says it.
Yeah, that's interesting. The NIV.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Inside of
would
you.
Theo be,
Yeah.
Theo be interested in debating any of those things
you
you just
what?
said? Would you be interested in debating any of those things that you just said?
Which one?
Well, let's say about orthodoxy or the belief about the scriptures specifically.
What particular point that we don't know who wrote them?
Yeah, well, yeah, about whether we know who wrote them, that sort of
we
thing.
can debate that.
Or okay, cool. Can we have two? Can we also do a second one on the issue of orthodoxy? You seem to have made the statement about orthodoxy not being non-existent until it was established by councils, and so I would gladly debate you on that.
Okay, let's set it up.
Yeah. So, yep, sound good to me. Honey, can we
we do.
Can we use the bar?
No. Why are we using the bar? Why are we not doing here?
Well, we can do it here.
The orthodoxy part though, for real.
You say what?
Courtney already crushed the orthodoxy, starting with the fathers. Courtney showed it was already in existence with the disciples.
Yeah, I know, but he's still saying it though. That's why I figured we can debate it.
He didn't show that.
You said when did he show it?
He didn't show it. So me and him gonna debate it. Me and Leandro gonna debate it.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
In the bar though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, Abu Haj, you want to host a debate?
I don't know how.
Well, the only thing really, yeah.
You get on, you say hi.
I'll watch a couple of debates and I'll let you know.
Okay, sound good.
I gotta see another one from you too, honey. But yeah, no, I'm down. We'll set a date when? Tomorrow? We'll set a date tomorrow. We will set a date tomorrow.
I was gonna say we can do it tomorrow too if you want to, but yeah, we can set a date tomorrow.
No, we'll set a date tomorrow.
He was like, "Yeah, let's go tomorrow." Like, no.
I was like, shit, that's fine. We can do that tomorrow. Shit, we can do it in 20 minutes. No matter to me. It's that, yeah. That sounds good to me. Yeah, this was good. See, look at that. This is nice.
Apollo put in things. Does John 20:28 count?
But
well,
what you mean, honey?
I don't know.
My Lord,
it's
where Thomas says, "My Lord and my God."
They started putting stuff in the comments as questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we left John 20:28 because of the context of it. And right after it, they declared that Jesus was still just the Son of God or whatever. So then we moved to other ones, but like we got Apollo in here, then put about 5 verses. Philippians 2:11, every knee shall bow, saying Jesus is the Lord. Corinthians 8:6, there's only one Lord, and Jesus is the Lord. I think this goes back to that argument y'all were having about when Lord.
Yeah, too. But how do you see? Like my thing is too is that we see on the ground that the Jews are having a problem with Jesus even being called the Son of God. Like they were ready to stone him for that. Like you don't think they would have a problem with him calling himself Yahweh if he even thought that, if they ever thought that? So I mean, I got just as much.
Like, I want to help you out with your argument, Theo, because I actually stand on, even though Leandre and Courtney are my teammates, I'm not a Trinitarian. I think that you would probably more so have to focus on Jesus clarifying to them after they kept calling him God that he was not.
Where they called Jesus God?
Yeah, he was exalted plenty of times by many people as God, even when he corrected the person about calling him good. There's a lot of places where he clarified to people and made them like, he's like, no, don't exalt me, exalt the Father.
Yeah, but
It's not me, it's the Father. It's not me. Don't tell them I did it, tell them God did it. Right? And people will still go out like, yeah, Jesus, he's the shit. He did this, he did that. I seen him, even though he told them not to. Right? So the argument shouldn't be, did people assume he was God? Because a lot of people did, because of the things he did that were miraculous. The thing that you would be actually arguing is the fact that he kept correcting them.
But being exalted doesn't necessarily make one God, or does it to you?
Yeah, but you keep asking, did they think he was? And the answer would be yes, many of times. They even asked him for a seat in heaven, in which he replied to them, well, I can't do that because I'm not running that shit. You know what I'm saying? But there's somebody above me that puts that, that is in charge of who sits on the right and left of me. Right? Which of course would also help your argument. But if you just keep saying, did anybody think he was God? Well, there's plenty of arguments that plenty of people did.
No, but we have a couple of things here. So one, we have to understand that to a Jew, that whole idea of God being a human is just is blasphemous. Two, we also know that the Jews did have people that they believe transfigured, such as Enoch, such as what's his name, Elijah. You know what I mean? So, matter of fact, when he came on the scene, they asked him, was he that prophet? So the fact that somebody, could be an intermediary for somebody directly to God is not something that was lost on the Jews. That was something that was traditional for them. So, prepare a place for me when you go to heaven. Why wouldn't they ask him that if he's told them about his father and he's told them things only somebody from who had this divine knowledge would know? Again, like, it's real important. Like, we know that the world that these people are living in at the time, two, where these people come from. And there's a lot of information on the surrounding people that will give you an idea why certain things are said that are said, and you have to go outside the Bible sometimes because it's fractured. But again, something so important, we could just use basic logic. Why wouldn't that be made clear? Yes, Jesus is God. Why wouldn't that be made clear? Why is it such a issue that causes so much tension that Christians actually kill each other for it? You know what I mean? They're arguing about it even into the 3rd, 4th century, 5th. Still now, you have people on YouTube making up whole new ideas now, saying, this economic thing. What the hell?
Yeah, but that goes two ways still. If there's a fight, that means there are two sides in opposition of each other. That's so just as much as they didn't believe he was God, they also believed he was God. That's how a fight occurs.
I would, yeah.
Okay, so if Courtney is on the side of yes, he was God, and that fight goes all the way back to the beginning, how is Courtney wrong about any of it then?
Because his actual position. Hold on 1 second. Got a poor call. Call right back.
I blame you, honey. Leandre, why? Why? But I blame you, honey.
I blame Hodge. I blame DeAndre.
Branch. He didn't take none of that. Like he
don't get it.
The way that he's arguing, he will lose every single time. He doesn't even give himself any base.
We've been telling this for a long time, for many, many years. But you have to understand the nature of Courtney and Theo's relationship. It's like, that's something else.
Yeah.
Understand that, but still, if when you have time to articulate an argument, articulate the correct one that you actually have a footing in.
Yeah, but that requires comprehension, honey, and that's where
I understand that he just clearly just lost that because I was just like, what the fuck? I just gave you so many different ways to hop on that.
We all have in different arguments, and it does nothing ever worked.
Right now, you have to somehow sneak it into his Claude search engine.
I told you, there's 20, 30 tabs open over there. Okay, he's trying to keep up. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. Yeah, we can definitely get some dates set on that, and yeah, and get his ass whooped. Yeah, like, because I told him before, like, bro, we can get into like right now. I mean, like, this is that it would to say that there's 1,000,005 books on this topic, right? Would still probably be an understatement. Like it's yeah. So like even on the issue of orthodoxy, there are entire volumes published on this. If he had just read what Courtney had posted earlier, this wouldn't really be an issue because he didn't actually offer a refutation of what was presented, where there's a statement about the apostolic faith and that kind of thing, right? And the reason why we even have those sorts of phrases, apostolic faith and things like that, like they exist for a reason. They exist for a reason, and so to ask questions about orthodoxy is kind of an interesting one. So, but okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh boy, honey, do I need to get you a picture of Theo for the promotional
No,
crew?
she can give him another view on his YouTube video. He needs, and she can take one from there. So it won't be a YouTube video. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Like, what?
I've been waiting for you, Leandre. Been waiting for you, and I want you to come with that same energy. Here I am, sweetie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen. I got some stuff lined up for you, Theo. Don't you worry about nothing, man. We don't even need to go through all that. We don't need the Leandre show. Iceman on the way, man. Iceman on the way. Yeah. Okay. Iceman on the way.
I was gonna ask you, but clearly you just gave me my answer.
You don't want to ask nothing. You far from doing all over this motherfucker. I can't believe that somebody actually says that. I mean, the understanding is that we don't have shit from the actual apostles. Yeah. And this idea that we have the way that they I mean we literally have records of the apostles going in different directions, like historically. Like they say that they went, this one went that way, that one went that way. You got people making claimants about different aspects. Don't like I'm only talking to you, motherfucker. You ain't the chief around here. Sit back like everybody else. Mm-hmm. So what are we doing?
Yeah, well, I'm actually smoking a vape pen right now. I appreciate the question. What are you doing, Dre?
Oh shoot, man, I'm kicking it here, feet up, man. I'm about to pour myself on this show. Yeah. So, but listen, like, hey, Courtney, did you hear the sort of things? Did you hear what was just articulated a second ago? He said we have records, right? Mm-hmm. He said we have records of like these apostles and where they went in their journeys. What sort of records do we think that we have that exist? What would be the earliest and best records that attest to the travels of the apostles?
I mean, probably apostolic records, of which he also said we don't have evidence of.
I know, right? So do you see how immediately that fell apart just now? When did I say that, Courtney? That's crazy. When I say
right that, before you made the comment about
aren't the church fathers apostolic writings?
No.
Are the church fathers apostolic writings? Yeah. Oh my goodness. They're not.
Oh shit, that was
They're not.
bad. That was terrible right there.
No. I'm asking a question. No, I'm asking a question.
Oh,
Hey,
They're not.
hey Theo, bring that with you.
Wait, no, I'm asking y'all the question. Yes or no?
Bring it with you to the debate, man.
Yes or no?
I'll be quiet. I gave you the answer, Theo, but I'm gonna be quiet.
Hey Theo, what's the root word? What's the root word in apostolic?
Yeah, because you have church apostles. See what I'm saying?
So you think apostolic? Yeah, I know, but you think that's what
they
referring
are?
to church?
They are called the apostolic fathers. That's what they're called. That's literally their title.
Okay.
Theo,
bring it to the debate. Bring it to the debate.
Okay.
All right. That's
yeah,
literally their title.
yeah. Let him bring it to the debate. Yeah, bring it to the debate. Both of them, actually. Bring it to the debate.
Like
he
you
got a
gonna
point.
do something.
But Andre, he got a point though.
Yeah, he got a point. Yep, I wanted to bring it to the debate.
What the fuck is you think you're doing? I made my. I mean, not you, guys. I'm saying, Leandro, what you mean? Bring it to the debate.
I just want you to bring it to the debate. You got it. You win.
To do what? To show you what I just said was true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
You a clown. Rinky dink. I've been waiting on you.
If we start with name calling, I'm better at it. And so I don't know if you want to do that.
Okay. All right.
Now I've been focusing on other stuff, but I'm really, really good at shit talking and name talking. I don't know if you want to go down this road with me.
Okay.
So anyway, let's not do that.
Let's not do what?
Let's not do this. Let's not do the name calling, okay?
Why every time you come in, you gotta, hey, everybody, good evening.
What are you even talking about right now?
Why, man, you gotta be here, everybody, good evening. What we doing tonight? Leandre Island. Why every time?
Do you just get intimidated because I barely say shit? Do you just get intimidated when I get on the phone?
No. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
It's one of those
because
like
every time you
educational achievement gap, and then you gotta like fill it with bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taller.
All that bullshit.
Again, we were talking about information. You're now turning this into something personal, and then when I start getting personal, Theo,
what you mean
have
getting
never slapped
personal?
anybody.
You just said you just talked all that dumb shit about how you better. What do you mean get personal?
Okay.
You weak.
Theo, I'm not gonna give you any more warnings.
Dude. Just let somebody.
Any more warnings.
Leandre. Warnings for what, motherfucker? You from Fresno. You don't scare nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Look, all you want to.
Okay.
All you want to.
No.
It took me.
There's
over
several
a
witnesses,
year.
and I think this is being streamed. So I'm telling you.
It took me over a year to get your attention, but when I start kicking your little minions ass, now you want to debate. So let's debate. We set the shit up tomorrow. Move on. I'm not Lorenzo. I'm not nobody else you be trying to fucking chat bully in here. I don't give a fuck about you. I hang up because you want to put on a show.
I've asked you several times
to
keep it about the information, to keep going, Theo.
What information, fool? I just showed you wrong. I said apostolic fathers. You said I was wrong. I know you ain't talking about a stutter mouth motherfucker. So now, I was talking about the apostolic fathers. You act like I was wrong. You were wrong. Because like I told you when I first met you, you front. You do not know this history. You do not know shit about Christianity. Mm-hmm. You are a con man.
Yeah.
You work on people's mind. That shit don't work here. So let's move on. Let's talk about some information. Because I don't want to buy a ticket. The shit is whack.
Theo, you certainly don't want to buy a ticket, bitch, because you're 2 feet tall. You're 2 feet tall. That's the fuck I thought. Now, anyway, we can get back to something else. Yeah, so Courtney.
Yes, sir.
So we have records of the travels of the apostles and things like that?
We have some, like primarily Paul, a little bit for Peter.
Now, wait a second. Where would we find the records of their travels? What's the
primary source is going to be Acts. And you can take some other 2nd century early Christian literature with a little bit more than a great assault on certain other aspects, but it's very tough to actually confirm some of those narratives. So
Now, given the just the nature of the documentation stuff that we have from those time periods, which of these sources would be, let's say if we're going to take, let's say the New Testament documents versus second, third, and fourth century writings, which one of these bodies of literature are going to be more widely attested to? Would it be the New Testament documents, or would it be the later historical writings?
Oh, are you joking? The New Testament collection is the most abundantly copied document of this historical epoch until today.
And circulated, and so these things would have circulated very early amongst persons who could have challenged the story or the historicity of events that took place.
Correct. And then we have a little bit of evidence of that with the church fathers, like from Clement of Rome. He knows some of these books. Aristides in particular, he literally says you can read what I'm summarizing in the Gospels. So, I mean, it is a collection of literature that is circulating by early, within 20, 30 years after, or at the latest, or at the earliest, a decade after the last New Testament book, even if you want to date like 2 Peter to 120. So yeah, it's within a decade after this time period.
So Courtney, here's a question I have. Okay, so if that is the case, so when we get into second and third century documents, do we have a chain of custody, and it's not, if you will, for the New Testament documents, a history of how they came down, who wrote them, like in the sources that Theo would have to appeal to for the travels of the apostles, especially if they're going to go outside the New Testament. In those documents, do they give us a chain of custody of what the apostles were doing and where they were and when they wrote certain things? Does that also appear in these documents?
It's definitely within those documents. The collection of the Ante-Nicene Fathers in particular, and ultimately codified by the father of bibliography, Eusebius, the 4th century church father.
So just so I'm clear, the documents that he would appeal to that tell us about the travels of the apostles tell us that the apostles wrote these documents, and like we even get like when and where, that kind of stuff, like in these documents.
One more time.
I said, so just for clarity, the documents that he would appeal to talk about the travels of the apostles, those same documents tell us where the apostles were when they were writing these documents, and that they wrote, let's say, the Gospels. Like we have that documented that this apostle wrote this gospel. We have that in the same documents that Theo would have to appeal to tell us about the travels of the apostles, correct?
Yeah, if it's accounted for in these, either the I mean, it's that if it's accounted for either in the New Testament literature or some of the early 2nd century non-heretical texts that might have some type of historical verisimilitude within them, it would need some type of evidence of this nature for its historical credulity.
Gotcha. Well, that is interesting, considering I thought just a second ago that we don't have any records of and we don't know who wrote these and that kind of thing. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you, Courtney. I appreciate your time. That's
no problem, boss.
Bunch of dumbass statements come out this little ugly nigga's mouth.
He really said, that we don't have evidence, we don't know who wrote. 20 seconds later, we have evidence of where they were, when they were, how they were.
Hey, yo, it's like, yeah, we have records. Listen, and again, and it's always an interesting thing where the bias and stuff comes in, where when it comes to, let's say, if you're reading the biblical text, people will take any text, any document that comes from any other people group, just not the ones that comes from the Bible. So you could have some story in there, and it's like, well, what primary evidence of there is that? Well, it's this would be the primary, and then it was like, well, no, we need something from somewhere else. Wait, no, you need. So wait, it's only confirmed if I get it from some other group. Like if we had writings from some other group of people, it could be the Amorites, for example. If we had some writings from some Amoritic writings, and they said something, we wouldn't be asking, well, does the Bible also confirm this? Like it's just not the way it works. But it is whenever you're asking questions about historicity of, like in this case, the New Testament. So I don't understand the methodology being employed here. But yeah, the other guy thinks he can punch up, and so we're gonna let him punch up.
There was a rapper from Queens, New York. You might have heard of him. He had a bar, and it went, quote, "Your arms are too short to box with God," unquote.
I'm trying to tell you. Today.
So I went to the Didache. I went to chapter 9 in the Eucharist. Now concerning the Eucharist, give thanks this way. First concerning the cup. We thank thee, our Father, for thy holy vine of David, thy servant, which you made us known to us through Jesus, thy servant, to thee be the glory forever. Jesus, thy servant.
Right.
So how is that Christian orthodoxy?
This Courtney, let me ask you a question.
Hold on,
Courtney, let me ask you a question.
No, I asked a question.
Yeah, and I'm now answering it.
Answer it. Don't ask Courtney a question. Answer the question. Be a man.
Well, because
stand up.
Is Jesus a servant or is he God?
Jesus is the servant.
Well, that's
Jesus
not an either
thy
or.
servant.
That's not
Courtney.
That's not an either or.
Maxim Courtney.
That's not an either or question. That's not an either or question.
It's a Courtney question.
An either or question.
I said Philippians 2.
Courtney.
Verses 5 through 11.
Is he a servant of
God?
In
the Didache.
Namely, which verse is this? Verse 7, I'm sorry. He took the form of a doulos, that is a slave, that is a servant. Yeah. Go ahead. What were you going to ask me, Leandre?
Courtney, is the entire
Courtney backed out. Let's you can answer. But go ahead.
Courtney, is the entire position with respect to, let's say, let's take a book like First. Let's take a book like First Peter.
Double talking ass.
Let's take
your motherfucking teacher.
Let's take a book like
First.
First.
Want to stand on your statements is crazy. Soft ass nigga.
The position with respect to Christianity, is it not that let's say Matthew 23, that the greatest one among you is the servant of all?
Yes, that is a position of Christianity.
Yeah, is in First Peter, let's say chapters 1, 2, and 3, is the entire idea there to have this sort of humility in you that was also in Jesus, to where, despite his greatness and his status, despite who he was, that he humbled himself and served? Was that is that not the entire position?
That is correct.
Okay, so the idea, so Courtney, so just out of curiosity,
the gospel.
It's there in the Gospels. It's in Matthew 23. It's in First Peter. It's the whole idea of the whole admonishing that comes for all of the other people that follow. So, like, we're reading chapters 1, chapters 2.
Just show us.
So I just did and stop talking. So the Philippians 2 passage that he's referenced, that we've referenced 100 times.
That's not the gospel.
Cool. When I covered this stuff before by giving an exact technical name and saying that this likewise doesn't put this outside of Christianity or Trinitarianism, I said, because if you took the position that said that Jesus was subordinate and that he was subordinate, that does not put it outside of any of the articulations of within Christendom. So this position that where people keep asking this question, like, oh, listen, so you're telling me there is no stutter. There's no stuttering. There's just not you listening.
Niggas, if the statement
I was still in the middle of what I was saying. So as I was saying, nothing about that question Nothing about that question puts this outside of orthodoxy or Christianity or Trinitarianism. Nothing.
Just
None of these
answer the
questions.
question.
The question was already answered.
What was it?
Yes. And
Yes, what?
the 2 points y'all are trying to put at odds are not antithetical. That was literally Andre's answer.
It's what I said repeatedly.
Okay.
I said it originally. I said it's not an either or thing.
Okay.
Because
okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what y'all saying and what the text saying, because by what y'all saying, because we see the holy vine of David, thy servant, and Jesus is a servant. So are Jesus and David equal to these people as far as what they were?
Essence?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
They
Why did
both
Essence just come
servants.
in here? Okay, see,
Because that's
there's
the
the comprehension.
question, fool.
There's the comprehension. Essence has to do with the nature. That question
David
right there,
is
you're
the
not
same
asking.
as Jesus.
No.
Why not? That's what it said
Jesus
right there.
said he wasn't. That's why not.
Okay.
Because that's not a
It's
description.
not function.
That's not a description of. That's not a description of nature.
It's functional.
That's not a description of nature.
It's functional.
Nature nature ain't in the Didache. They ain't got this problem that y'all have.
I want to see niggas answer that one question I had from earlier.
They won't.
Trust me. There's no. You two couldn't put your brains together and formulate a tough question.
I know. So just answer this one then. Make it clear and clean.
The question's been answered. How many more times do you want the question answered?
It has not been answered. I
didn't answer directly and say that it's a false dichotomy. I didn't say it's not an either or. I did not establish that. I did not establish.
You
I did not
answered, my
establish
bad.
out loud.
You answered out loud. You was full of shit out loud. My bad.
Oh wait. So the issue is that you thought you had a good question. I answered using the text and saying Jesus says the greatest one among you is the servant of all. And so, so what does that mean? That means that those two things are not incongruent. You want them to be, but
tell us why you use that verse. What are you saying with that verse?
That you can still be the greatest, but that makes you a servant necessarily. Okay. So again, so saying that it says right here that that he was a servant. What does that have to do with it? That doesn't change anything.
Okay, but it says David was a servant also, and he was great.
Yes, and so they had that in common.
So Jesus and David, see, the holy vine came to David first, and then Jesus too. So David had that holy relationship with God first before Jesus ever came on the scene. So why y'all not acknowledging?
Well, that's certainly not the claim. Anyone here, so that's certainly a straw man.
I ain't talking about no claim. I'm talking about that Jesus to the Jews would be a son of David. A son of David.
Yo, the difference is the homo shit they made up.
Exactly, and that's not in the Didache. So that's what I'm saying. So Courtney tried to say that the Didache proves an orthodoxy, but Courtney doesn't realize that the Didache is a messianic Jewish text, and they don't have the same beliefs that Courtney and them have.
Wait.
Tried to pull the wool over everybody.
Wait. It's a messianic.
Can I briefly respond? I'll briefly respond. Theo, thanks for demonstrating.
You already did it.
Your ears
and I
don't
showed
work.
you where you were wrong.
Thanks for demonstrating your ears don't work. I'm gonna briefly reply.
Fast.
I do not speak fast. You lying piece of shit.
Okay.
My deep voice ass has a very slow cadence. And I'm smoking. The fuck out of here. I'm going to say this once. I'm only going to say this once. The reason why I brought up the Didache is because of the historical tradition that it is a collection of practices of the early church derived from who? The apostolic community. That's the only reason.
Okay.
All of this Theo is bringing up.
Orthodoxy, right?
Shut the front door.
You brought it up to confirm orthodoxy,
Shut up. No.
Right?
No, sir.
What did you just say? That's what Todd was asking.
He said a precursor. He said a precursor to orthodoxy.
To the orthodoxy. So when he says pre-Trinitarian, he means Okay, what did you mean? Tell us what you meant.
No. The Didache was brought up because it has a strong early historical connection to apostolic tradition. That was why I brought up the Didache. Every time I said Didache, that was what I said.
Courtney, Within
to show the
Courtney
orthodoxy, right?
Courtney is the statement that he read from Didache, is that outside of orthodoxy?
No,
Okay, I appreciate it.
Outside of who
because it's
orthodoxy?
derived from the apostolic community.
Who? Wait, hold on. They not Christians because in the Didache they're told how they should deal with Christians. See, y'all don't know this stuff, and y'all just talking. They actually
Yeah,
have
you're
us
just
two
saying some
sections
of the
in
dumbest
there.
shit.
I'll show it to you right now. Hold on.
Yep.
The point I brought him up was because of Trinity language regarding baptism, right next to the Jesus only baptism in Didache.
So one, you lying
Theo,
because you brother, you just
are
sang
you
that
going to
whack ass
read
song.
the
Yes, I'm gonna get it
totality
in a
of the
second.
baptism
I'm
narrative
see y'all.
in the
Everybody who's here
Didache
heard him do that shit.
to demonstrate that I
That
was
was his
wrong or
proof to
something?
Hodge that orthodoxy goes back, and he didn't realize
Haj, can you ask
that they
Haj, can you
were
ask
not
him again?
Christians.
Can you ask him again if he said that the Didache is not a Christian text? Can you ask him again?
I'll ask him.
Courtney didn't say that. What the
No,
fuck
you
is
said
Andre
it.
asking?
I said you said it.
Yes.
You said the Didache is not a Christian text.
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate it. Honey, this still being streamed?
Yep. Yes,
You
it
say
is.
yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, I appreciate it.
Yes, it is. I would love to ask, because now we got dead air. I would love to ask, where did you get that from, Theo? The Didache is not a Christian text. If you don't mind.
Courtney, he actually has to present that. That can't slide.
Yeah.
That statement has to be qualified.
Yeah, he said it's not a Christian text. So I mean, it's and remember, because he just said a second ago, he said I was a fraud and I don't know the history, and he talks about all this reading he does, the church fathers, these other documents. Like, he jumped off the phone, and I told y'all he'll have 20 to 40 tabs open on the screen. He gets to trying to Google anything he possibly can, and he read the statement that he thinks falls outside of orthodoxy. You have Christians on here who are claiming orthodoxy who say, hey, that's actually not a problem in any of the systems whatsoever. It actually falls right in line with what we believe about what this is supposed to look like. And then he doubles down and assumes that no, it must be incongruent with your articulations. See, because they believe he was a servant.
Did y'all see in the back
Why
channel I
would we
put
ever?
where they are told how they should deal with the Christians? Did y'all see it? That's from the Didache. It's telling them how they should deal with Christians. So whatever somebody talking about is all fine and game, but right there it says concerning Christians, not concerning us, concerning Christians.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you move when you dealing with Christians.
Let's look at
Mm-hmm. Do you have a source that says it's not a Christian text?
He just showed it.
Well, I got a basic question. That chapter, the little headings there, does Theo think that those chapter headings were in the actual work?
Yes, he thinks those in the actual works.
I'm going back on mute. Y'all got it.
I don't know what the fuck they talking about.
All right, so
Yeah,
Theo,
but
I'll bring
12.
two things. Yeah, I'll bring two things forward really quick, right? So, as a Muslim, there's things that I have to do in my practice that deal with Muslims, and there are things I have to do to deal with non-Muslims, right? So if I'm being taught this, I'm reading about this, it'll tell me in some type of heading, as for Muslims, you say this. As for Muslims, you don't do that. Like, it's telling me how to interact with Muslims. Although I'm a Muslim, it's telling me how to interact with them. Doesn't mean I'm not a Muslim or it's not for Muslims. It's just telling the reader, if the readers happen to be a Muslim, this is how you deal with other Muslims. Same thing with the Hebrew Israelites, how they do that situation. Same with Christians. Not everybody is treated equally inside and outside of the faith. So why, when you read this heading, do you simply not think it's a Christian book telling Christians how to deal with other Christians? Why would you think that wasn't the case?
Which heading are you talking about?
The one you circled.
I'm talking about chapter. I'm talking about chapter 12. Chapter 12 that I just put in the back chat.
Well, you said the Didache itself was not a Christian document.
No, hold on. Let's go to I showed something real quick.
Well, you're not answering his question though.
Okay, but I shared something first. So can we deal with what I put on the table first, and then we'll go back to that?
Well, we are right now, but he
no,
just addressed it, and he asked you a question.
You're not gonna do that. So
you're not gonna answer his question. Why would you assume that the section that's under review?
I said the Didache itself, the information in the Didache shows this. Hod says that there's certain things that he's told with how to deal with Muslims and these kind of things. That's cool. Is he saying that that's what's going on here?
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
Okay. So show me in the Didache where it says.
No, can you answer his question now?
No, hold on. So now show me the Didache where it says they are Christians.
Well, here I can definitely show you where it says that the Didache is a Christian document. Hold on, I'm going to show you something.
No, that's not what I asked you.
So listen to what I'm telling you. You said that it's not a Christian document. Every scholar, every single scholar says that it is a Christian document. Every single one. I don't know of one that says otherwise. It's literally just you who says otherwise. It's just like your statement about the apostolic fathers. You thinking that means that they're apostles.
I showed you the name. I showed it to you.
That statement means something different. It doesn't mean that they're apostles.
DeAndre, you say shit and never support it. Back it up.
Okay, cool. So here's what I'm
gonna do. I told you that. Back it up.
Cool. Be quiet. I'm cool. Be quiet. I'm gonna listen. Stop talking. Stop talking. I'm showing you right now. Stop talking. I'm showing you right now. You're still running your mouth. Zakari, can you read? Zakari, can you read what's on the screen?
Why are you calling Zakari?
To read.
Why? You can't read?
I can read just fine. Zakari, can you see what's on the screen? All right, I'll read it. It says a short, early Christian manual on morals and church practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what the Didache is. This is a Christian document. Okay, so that's that one. Okay. And so this one here.
Check this out.
No, wait, no. I'm not done. I'm not done.
You're right.
Yep, I'm not done. Okay, and so this one right here. Apostolic Fathers. This is the section you go to Didache, brings you right over here. Group of early church writers, some of who knew the apostles. Okay, so these writers were not grouped together or called the Apostolic Fathers until the late 17th century.
Whoa, shit. What?
Okay, now watch this. It says, no, cool. So it goes on. The first collection entitled The Apostolic Fathers included the works
what are you reading from?
Oh, these are dictionaries.
Oh, so you just Googling. You just Googling.
No, you're saying Googling. You can look on your screen. No. Why don't you look at your screen? Why don't you look at your screen? Why don't you look at your screen?
It's not showing up.
Can everybody else see what I have up here?
I can. What's the one on the left, Dre? What's the one on the left, Dre? Bible dictionary.
It's Holman.
That's Holman.
Yep. What's this one here? That right there is going to be page. That's page 88. Okay. This one right here, I'm on page 478 of this one. This is an Oxford, a dictionary of the Christian Church. That's the section there on the Didache. So I have more. I'm going to grab Bart Ehrman. Hang on. Let me grab Ehrman, the New Testament and other early Christian writings. Hang on. Let me see. Let me grab it real quick. I'll share it back on the screen. When I get it up.
Chat, I wasn't looking at my motherfuckers. Boy, get the fuck out of here. Get with them damn dictionaries. Get the fuck out of here. So anyway.
So I shouldn't read these dictionary entries from scholars.
No.
Because that's who put these together.
You shouldn't because
every one of these entries is put here by a PhD. Every single one of these.
Hold on. The charge I made against y'all many times. When I bring a PhD, they ain't shit. But when you bring them, they the Holy Grail. Fuck out of here with that.
You just asked me to support it. I've now supported it.
So hold on. Is a Nag Hammadi Christian text?
No, it's Gnostic text.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Are the Gnostic texts Christian texts?
No.
Okay, so then,
I said no.
okay,
Those are Gnostic.
okay,
Those
hold
are
on,
Gnostic texts.
hold on. They in the same church fathers books. They in all the Christian writings, just like the Didache, but you
That is
don't
not
call
true.
that. You don't
That's also
call
not
that.
true.
Hold on, I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna
That
show it
statement
to
is
you in the
false.
index. I'm gonna show it to you in the index
The Nag
because hold on,
Hammadi was not as widely circulated
Leandre, shut
as
up
you're
talking.
pretending it was.
I let you talk. See,
No,
when
you
I put
didn't.
my foot in your ass, that's when you see the blah, 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 blah. So now I'm going to show you the list that has not only the Nag Hammadi listed in these Christian texts, but at the very bottom, it's going to have the Didache listed in there. And why I say it's not a Christian text, because the Christian church does not use it to do anything. Because even the Didache does not support the shit that the Trinity has brought to that faith.
Well, according to Bart Ehrman, according to Bart Ehrman,
I'm talking
according
to
to Bart
you.
Ehrman, the Didache actually did
See,
quite
hold
a
on,
bit.
Leandre. I'm gonna finish after this.
It was
I'm
a
gonna let you
manual.
talk after this. But see, another charge I made against you is that you're no different. Okay, you are like Courtney, but you're far better than Courtney. Courtney sucks at it. Like you're very calculated in what you do. But the fact is, you really don't be saying shit. You be just pulling shit from the internet and glossing through these dictionaries and using your psychology shit. Props to you, whatever you got a degree in. That shit don't work here.
Prophecy.
And so now, you ain't definitely say nothing about no fucking prophecy with your dumb ass.
No, you just said prophecy.
So now,
The
the
props
fact
to
of I said prophecy. So you can't look give you a little bit of credit. You take that shit too far, right? But here's the thing, Leandre. Here's the thing. The same way you are now discrediting Gnostic writings, Nag Hammadi, all these lost books, same way you would discredit them for Christianity, you have to do the same thing with Didache because it's in the same lost collections and all that other kind of shit that y'all orthodoxy said it ain't good enough.
No, well, nobody says that about that anyway. Like I said, so Bart Ehrman, a non-Christian, refers to so we know the title Apostolic Fathers. They weren't given that title. So no. Anyway, as I was saying, nobody thinks that these people are apostles. That's not what these writings are called. So in the 17th century, so like that's the 1600s, when this title stuff like that came about, it's not because people were like, hey, these were also apostles. Largely the term came about because of the fact that some of the people who were writing there knew the apostles. Okay. It's literally what's stated. It's what I just read. You think I'm Googling. I don't need to Google. As I pointed out before, I sit in a library. I turned around at my desk. I started grabbing books off the shelf as soon as you made the goofy statement, just so I can read out loud. Okay. So again, no, I'm not Googling. That's you. I don't use AI. That's you. I could just turn around and grab any one of these books that I've already read. I can read to you from non-Christians who are going to tell you that these are Christian texts. You asked me to back it up. I did. And so I backed it up. I came with scholarship that says it. Bart Ehrman gives you the whole division and the whole breakdown of what these texts are, what they look like, and even what apostolic writers means or apostolic fathers means. It doesn't mean that they're apostles. When you start talking about apostolic writings, it doesn't mean the same thing. At best case scenario, it's an equivocation fallacy. We're using apostolic to mean something that didn't mean. We start talking about apostles, we start talking about apostolic fathers. It doesn't mean the same thing. Okay, so again, everything that you said is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. There are non-Christians who I just was able to reference just now who completely disagreed with you. And I asked you prior to you asking me to back it up, for you to back up your statements that it's not a Christian text. I'm not really interested in your subjective, uneducated interpretation on the topic. Do you have anybody who says that you have any scholars who say these are not Christian texts? You have anybody who says that?
So in the back chat, I just put that list I was talking about. So if you look at it, it's called the New Testament Apocrypha. Within that New Testament Apocrypha, there are tons of books that the Orthodox Church has said does not meet the standard, and they put it out of their canon. They put it out of their curriculum. If you look on there, you'll see in these same texts, you will see the Nag Hammadi, you will see all kind of books. You flip the page. At the very bottom of that same thing, under the shepherd of the first book of Hermas, In the second book of Hermas, you got the letter of Herod, the letter of Pilate, the lost gospel according to Peter. All these books that the church says they want no parts of. And at the very bottom, you have the Didache. So therefore, when I say it's not a Christian text, it's not in their curriculum. These fake ass pretender Christians that be in chat groups be trying to grab shit, trying to substantiate they claim. If you look at the Didache, there is nowhere in the Didache that Jesus could be seen as God. So it does not confirm your orthodoxy, which was the reason Courtney brought it in the first place.
Okay, listen, you said
You
that the
got
people
it?
who wrote this text,
That's
no, you said the
move.
people who wrote this text aren't Christian. You said that this is not a Christian document. Okay, you
Brother,
said utter
the
nonsense.
apostles
Okay?
weren't Christians.
You don't have, listen, that doesn't make any sense.
The apostles were not
Notice
Christians.
he just changed his whole position.
Like I
The
said, yes.
apostles were not
Now
Christians. You
the
said it.
goalpost has
You
moved to
said
something
it.
else. Listen,
They said move.
the Didache is a Christian document. There's nobody who disagrees with that. I don't know of one living person who doesn't agree with that.
Okay.
I don't know of anyone who thinks that apostolic. I don't know anybody.
I don't know anybody that doesn't
I
understand.
don't know.
I don't know anybody that doesn't say the non-Hammadi is Christian.
And that's the hilarious
The
part of it is right.
non-Hammadi
Is again,
Christian.
who were
The
the people who are
non-Hammadi
called
is
Christians?
Christian.
Does the New Testament not use this statement, Christian? So this is
I got one for you, Andre. I got one for
utterly
you.
silly. This is utterly silly.
For you.
You know what they never called? Goddamn Gnostics. Anyway, as I was saying, I can continue if anyone needs it. If anyone needs it, here's a matter of fact. Let me do this. If anyone needs it, I can continue grabbing dictionaries and things like that off of here, and we can continue and handbooks and you name it to define Didache. I can continue grabbing them. We can grab. We can continue.
Gnostics too.
All I see is artificial intelligence, Dre.
Yeah. This is apparently me.
Check this out.
This is apparently me.
I got a real question.
So y'all let me know if anybody needs any more evidence.
Come on, man.
Anybody needs any more evidence, we can continue going.
Fuck with you, Bill. But look, check this out. So before Christianity adapted the word usia, right?
Oh my God. We're doing this again, bro.
Hold on. Yeah, we about to do this right quick. Christianity got it from somebody. Those somebodies that they got it from were called Gnostics. These teachings of this usia.
What? No. What?
Hold on. So now, are you telling me that the Gnostics that had these ideas about Jesus and God, right? Are you telling me that they are not Christians, but the Didache people are?
Yes.
Is that your position?
So wait. One,
you said yes, Courtney? Okay.
Yes, but you also don't make any goddamn sense when talking about these Gnostics that apparently existed. No, but he's talking about these Gnostics that were around before the Christians, before the Christians took the word, which is crazy. In the New Testament, do we have documentation of people called Christians?
Yes.
It's there. What are we talking about?
Theo's been emphasizing that information for the last 3 days now. They were first called Christians in Antioch. Antioch's in Syria, Syriac. Euripides wrote in Syriac. I'm sharing with you, long-bearded young master of the Islamic studies, Salim. He was sharing with you Tatian because he spoke or wrote in Syriac.
That nigga said I was Googling, which is funny. I had whole books on the screen.
Y'all gotta let Theo cook, man. Well, what was the point of bringing up the Didache? Was he on point with what he just said, Courtney?
Absolutely not.
He said that's why you brought it. He was saying that Didache ain't connected.
No, I brought the Didache because it has early, ancient, historic roots in apostolic traditions, primarily derived from Acts and the Gospels. It's sort of like a collection of liturgy and certain church how to conduct yourself type of things, and also a baptism, some like how to perform baptism. Certain rites of passage are articulated in here. And again, the reason why I mention it is because the Didache, having this apostolic connection, speaks about baptism in a Trinitarian mode and a Jesus-only mode. in the same section. That was why I mentioned it, because Theo's saying that I believe in so much different stuff from the early apostles and Jesus and the disciples. He's just mistaken.
He must have hung up.
Yeah, he's been on the.
Yeah. Some of the stuff is really sad. I mean, like again, but this is why this stuff keeps coming back from the internet. I mean, we've all seen his library before, but his little bookshelf and shit. But this is why there's an issue, because he's even what he just went to just right now, where he's like, well, I'm on a thing right now, and it says that these New Testament apocrypha, and it's a website where they've just compiled a bunch of stuff together, right? Like not like there was some, he's not showing any usage or positions or beliefs of people in the early communities about these books or these documents. It's just not there. He wants to believe that, there were these other documents, you should just be accepting any other documents, even if they came from Gnostics, people that like were rejected in the New Testament, like in the actual New Testament. Positions of Gnostics were rejected by the apostles themselves. They were literally writing like, yeah, no, not that shit. Imagine, right, as an example. Imagine there were people who popped up with beliefs during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad or his companions. People come with those ideas during the life of the Prophet and his companions. They're rejected by the Prophet and his companions, and then someone later come and saying, yeah, no, but those are valid views. That's exactly what this amounts to.
No, it's a lot of quick talk, a lot of tossing shit out there that with nothing to substantiate it with, but these broken fragments that he's reading from dictionaries trying to make something make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, like I said before, you don't hear Didache being preached by no Christians. That writing is there for the clergy and people who do the study. They understand that there's a distinction between it and Christianity. Pointed out in there, just like there's a different Polycarp, Justin Martyr, Haitian himself. These are not Christians. So this idea that is being retrofit upon them. And
can you back up any of that you just said? Let's say about Justin Martyr not being Christian. Can you back that up? Can you back that up? You just said Justin Martyr's not Christian. Can you back that up?
I said everything I've said I can back up.
Cool.
Everything.
Do it now.
I will do it in the chat when I get to it.
Okay. Haj, how do I bring charges against this nigga? We need some shit substantiated. We need some documentation. We need some backing up. Tell me what's the process.
Peter was not a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Not Peter. James, I mean. Not a Christian. And the Bible will show you that.
Are you gonna supply what I asked?
Yep, when I get to it.
Oh, okay.
That means no.
Yeah. Been whooping y'all ass for a month now.
Yep.
You motherfuckers just sat here and said the Didache is Christian, but the Nag Hammadi Library, who David Litwa, who Courtney brought, specifically have done extensive research on them being Christians. Matter of fact, Marcion being one of the first prominent Christians who helped build the first churches. But
Marcion was
they not Christians.
Marcion was in Nag Hammadi. Shut up and answer my question. Was Marcion in Nag Hammadi? Was Marcion in Nag Hammadi, Egypt? 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 This is not deflection. We were just talking about Nag Hammadi. You started talking about people not relevant to Nag Hammadi in order to try to attack people because you don't know the information. So I got one question for you, Theo.
Was his writings there? Was his writings there? Was his writings there?
Who?
Who the fuck are you talking about?
Well, we're talking about a location.
Was his writings there?
No, sir.
His writings weren't there?
Prove it. No.
Okay.
We have no
I'll
evidence
be
of
back in a little while, y'all.
Marcion's literature being found. Okay, he got off. We have no evidence of any text from Marcion being extant. You know why?
Period. Point
All
blank
that we
zero.
have from Marcion
A list.
is from church fathers.
Yes. So yeah,
Church fathers' quotations and refutations of his own concoction of Luke and the Pauline corpus.
if he got some writings from Marcion, that's going to be amazing. He should
Let,
publish
a,
those.
let alone from a location we know this nigga never was at. Nag Hammadi is a location. It's a physical location.
Yeah,
That's
Marcion
like,
was. He was so yeah. So we have the stuff survives from him. Like it appears in writings of other people, right? So like we get a like a Marcionic canon and stuff. But yeah, but he apparently has discovered some Courtney that he's going to break the New Testament studies departments wide open across the country
man,
when they
look
find
here.
out that he got these writings from Marcion.
Bart Ehrman will come out of retirement today if he finds out Theo got information nobody else got. I guarantee it. Ehrman retired at the beginning of the year. So I guarantee it, that nigga will come right the fuck out of retirement just to co-author and publish with Theo. Somebody who found something everybody's had access to on sacred text, but nobody's ever made the connection Theo made.
Yeah. And remember, he said, I'm a fraud and I don't know the stuff and I don't know the history, and he's going to expose me. So I'm looking forward to it, the expose.
I was kind of taken aback when he made the comment, like, I be trying to have high expectations for people. So, I don't know. I thought he was going to give the correct answer, but then that nigga said, Marcion's works were found in Nag Hammadi, Egypt.
Hey, listen. He said, hold on, he'll be back. So that
He's
nigga's
in the
Googling right
chat.
now trying to figure out what writings we have.
Well, he's in the chat, y'all. I don't know if y'all realize that, but yeah, he's in the chat. He said, I got like 5 minutes though. Marcion, blank, the Nag Hammadi text share the foundational theological worldview, strict separation of gods, radical rejection of Old
That's
Testament
cool. Where's the
creator,
text?
and
You ain't got to read it. Ask him where the text are
prophetic
from
view
Marcion.
of Jesus. He apparently didn't read what's the name on Marcion either, Litwa, but I think we just need to ask him, did you forget what you said and what you supposed to prove?
That nigga said he'll be right back. I figured, shoot, he knew exactly what he was going to go get.
Oh, Snickle Fritz. Let me check something out. The bar reloaded on YouTube, because with the time dilation, it should be popping up right now.
Looking forward to releasing these Marcionic documents.
Okay. Y'all got to talk.
So you got to pull a bar right now. Hodge, is he coming back? I'm trying to see if Theo coming back.
Theo's coming back. Now
Yeah, he did.
He
Said
said
he'd be
he was
back.
going to debate you if you keep talking to him.
And nigga told me to back it up, back up what I said, and then got mad. And they was talking about you're Googling stuff. Hmm.
When you had the book on the screen, was pretty crazy.
Yeah, from a chief Googler who what he does all times is post like
Chief Googler.
he'll post a screenshot of something that like some dumbass like AI thing that he also just won't be comprehending still. So, well,
DeAndre,
yes, sir.
now tell me, from when you met Theo till now, how many degrees has he risen?
He's not risen at all. I actually would venture to say that in some ways I think he's actually regressed. Because some of the stuff that he says, it seems to just be in desperation because he hates like me and Courtney so much. Like before, he seemed like a dude who was wrong. Now he's a dude who just doesn't care.
Damn.
He just wants a win. And so like I can come out and say basic stuff, right, that everybody just like agrees with, and he'll spend 3 days trying to prove that I was wrong about something. They yeah.
That's true. Okay, but I mean, hey, honey, you still there? Yeah. Based on what happened that you witnessed today, do you think Theo gave Courtney a run for his money?
He started to, and then he went left.
See, he started to, DeAndre.
Yeah,
he started to when he started reading, but then it's like he has an issue where he stops reading. Like he'll start reading the first part, and then feels like he hasn't, he'll just stop. And if you don't read the whole thing, and you don't get the whole argument, then you won't be able to argue against it.
Well,
but in a lot of times, he also didn't get out anything that he had to say. But it's just like he keeps going left. He keeps starting out good and turning left, and then it's like now the argument you're making sounds stupid.
Yeah. Well, he did say I was better than Courtney. I mean, I knew that already. I just it's just good to hear it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just need to.
What you better than Courtney?
I agree that it's not that the Trinity is, but the way he's arguing it, nobody could agree with, because he doesn't have anything that backs up his argument. Nothing.
Yeah. Like I said, he's an angry man, and he wants to win, and it would make him feel really good if he could be like, and these guys have degrees and stuff, or they studied this thing right here, they got units in this. And they read this, and if I could beat them, I could prove to my family that I really am something more than a janitor. I had to do this to support the family, but I could have been something. Y'all remember them niggas like who, when they get out of high school, saying and they claim that they didn't go to the league because of an injury. If I hadn't torn my ACL, I would have been better than. I think, as a matter of fact, somebody back here had a really wonderful analogy where they said he's like LeVar Ball the other day, which is, I think, is accurate. Yeah, he really wants us to believe that he's like has this intellect that was missed by all of his teachers and family and parents and all of his friends. They didn't realize he was this intellectual powerhouse, and and he wants to make sure that we know it. And this is why he can come in here and he can compete and he can argue back and forth and win. It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse since I met him. It's nothing. It's
My
nothing.
fault. I was at work. I'm at work, so I couldn't really speak. But when he went to the Didache, doesn't he realize when it teaches about baptism, it actually uses a model?
You say use the term what?
Yeah, because the Didache uses a Trinitarian model in its baptism.
Yeah, I know. Listen, it's there. along with stuff about
What it say, Mike?
apostles.
What it say? What's the Trinitarian model?
It says to baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
It's literally there, and it's one that that we know that again, especially like when you look at the time period of it is around the time period of the Gospel of John. Hilarious enough. But yeah, I mean, you got that reference, which is which comes up in like in Matthew 18. Matthew 28. And yeah, and then that articulation appears there in it appears there in the Didache. And but yeah, he said it's not a Christian writing. The people who wrote it weren't Christians. And it's silly. Nobody believes that. Nobody supports that position. Nobody. I don't know of one person who's ever said that. The content of it. And he's like, you don't find any people preaching? Well, why would we? Is anyone arguing that it was canonical, that it was going to be read in the temples or in the synagogues or in the churches? Does anybody make that position? No. That's a useless point to make. It is a manual of instruction. It's like we have books and documents that we use today that aren't all for the same purpose. Like I would imagine that some of the Muslims who are here in the group own other books outside of just the Quran, outside of Tafsir, outside of Hadith. I imagine that they may own a book. It could be on motorcycles or something, right? Or if you have one that's like on how to start a nonprofit, because you want to start a masjid or something. I'm not going to be thinking that they need to be preaching from those, or that they need to be reciting those 5 times a day. It means that they have other books. And so the Didache was a manual of instruction. By all accounts, it was a manual of instruction, broken up into several chapters. I think 16, if I'm not mistaken. But and so it's about instruction, how to govern the church, how to do this, how to be sure if the person who's among you is really a prophet or an apostle or not. If they stay too long, they ain't for real, which is what the Didache tells them. It says, because if they was for real, they'd be about the business. They stay there, they're probably just living off you for free. So he's like, well, they're not preaching out of it. So what? Who said they did? Like it's that stuff. It's literally not focused. I don't know what that nigga problem is. Courtney, has he dropped it yet, though?
Has he dropped what? He shared information from Wikipedia about Gnosticism in general. And then he made a declarative statement, namely, quote, Marcion was in Nag-Hammadi, unquote. I asked him to clarify with a quote, can you give me the manuscript, unquote, waiting for a manuscript to be attested.
All right, well, I'll be back. Let me know when he gets here.
I mean, how do you inform somebody of a task that's technically impossible? That's literally an impossible task.